was important and obviously on topic for this, but a very important thing that we should do today.
Oh, I forgot. We talked about it yesterday, and I forgot.
Jessi brought me.
Yes. I'm a good sister.
Jessi brought me a pack of Harry and the Hendersons trading cards, and as we are doing Harry and the Hendersons today,
yay!
I thought that it would be an interesting experiment to open this pack of trading cards. And we would try the gum.
Do the ASMR, like you gotta.
Hold on. It says because this says it's from the movie came out in 1987. This says copyright 1987. So in theory, this gum has been in here since 1987.
And it was bad then.
It was already bad then.
What are they? Top something.
This is
What's
Tops.
it called?
This is Tops. Oh. And so we're gonna open these up.
Yeah. I was gonna get an extra pack.
Here we go.
Now we can't trade. Here we go. Ready?
Here's the opening up the Harry and the Hendersons trading cards. This is like an unboxing thing.
Can you smell
boy.
Can you smell the gum?
I can't smell the gum. Here, we'll save these to look at in a minute. But
it's already broken. Oh,
this gum is already
shake it from the mic.
It's already broken in pieces. I'm gonna touch two of them together.
That's so chalky. Yes, I can.
It's
you go first.
Rock hard as it would have been in 1987.
Okay.
But now it is. So it's a very. I'm going to describe. It's a kind of.
Let's get a thing ready to spit this out though.
It's a very pale pink. It is very rock hard.
It looks like drywall.
Does it have a smell?
Absolutely
no smell.
No smell. Which is.
There's a little bit of chalkiness. Maybe I'm going to take one piece. And are you kind of tasting it a little bit? To see.
Oh. Oh God! It's like a Necco. Don't swallow it! Don't swallow it! Oh God!
No! Why would you ever swallow gum? What happened to this?
I only have a clear bag. It's disgusting. What if we both die? Oh God!
You know that kinship you feel when someone gets the obscure movie quote you tossed out in a conversation?
Ronald Reagan!
The actor? Like, yeah, okay, sure.
Welcome to Such a Good One! A podcast where two siblings bond over their unabashed love for the movies they grew up on. I'm Josh Cook.
And I'm Jessi Cook.
Come digress with us.
We bit into it. It absolutely crumbled immediately.
It's in my tooth. It's stuck in my tooth.
It's chalky that is what gum from 1987 tastes like. I feel like I just time traveled.
Shoot! I just remembered what I was gonna. Dang!
You just remember what you were gonna dang?
One of the surprises I was gonna get was
Dang me. Why don't you get a rope and hang me? Hey!
Is it a little too late for midnight now? Hey, too late.
Go back.
I was gonna get Big League Chew.
Well, you didn't.
After this experience.
Well,
oh, no.
You didn't. We should just get that. We'll get that. We'll do the natural one day. Big League Chew.
That's a shame.
I feel like I'm gonna have this taste of this weird.
I don't taste anything. I just taste dust.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's some kind of like the sense that some residue of a food type substance, and it's gonna be like it's gonna be like out damn spot, but in gum. Oof, that was unpleasant. But now the good news is now we get to look at what the cards are. Let's see the first one. I used to have these cards. I got these for Dick Tracy, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, for Batman. I had all these things.
Garbage Pail Kids.
Well, yes, but those were separate.
I was going to buy the Batman things, and I was like, that's not a wise financial choice, although they were very inexpensive. But I think if we do Batman, I'm going to get them.
Whoops.
What's on the other side?
So it's just a description of what's. Like? It's just a description of what's going on.
That's the one where he's pushing up the ceiling so he can get his head through.
Yeah. So these cards are all just scenes from the movie This is a weird hiding from the floor. It is just Harry looking like.
Wait, here's my question. LaFleur.
Yeah.
Is that the same name as the guy from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid or not? Because
LaFleur?
yeah, the guy that was like, who is that guy? Who is that guy?
Oh,
Because it was this.
Who are
it was
those guys?
the same name as the guy from
interesting.
Mallrats because he wore the white hat, so it was like
gosh,
kind of a play off.
I don't
but
remember.
I don't know.
Garbage Pail Bigfoot. We got Harry.
Garbage Pail Bigfoot. What is this one?
Yeah, so it's just all these
Harry
different.
takes charge. And
It's
I
all
like
different
this.
scenes. Oh wait. Oh, this is.
Oh my
it.
God!
It's
Look at
a-
the back.
It's a sticker.
It's a sticker.
And this is one I forgot about this. They used to do this where it was like a sticker, and on the back side is a piece of a
puzzle.
poster.
Oh, right.
And so you collect all the cards, and then you have
Oh,
like
that's
one
so
big poster
cool.
of the movie. Oh,
I'm
man.
gonna get more.
This is so
great.
funny. This is definitely a
this.
nostalgia kick right here.
Harry takes charge, but I like this picture because he's like this.
Wait a minute.
Ooh.
This is another fish tank.
Something's
Fish
fishy.
tank related card.
I love these.
I want you to note the gum has burned into the cardboard on the back. There's a
No.
there's an actual you can actually see
It's
the
like bubbled.
outline and the crystallization of the gum. And we just ate poison. We just ate poison. So if anyone knows, don't make that sound. Don't do it. Oh no. Stop it. Stop it. Oh my gosh. The people don't like it.
How are your ears? So this movie has to. I mean, I think you can name a lot of movies as your favorites through time, but this, if someone was like, what movie represented your childhood? For me, it was probably Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, and you used to say you used to watch this in a cardboard box
watched it
because you
in
were
a
afraid of Harry,
cardboard
I
box.
guess.
Dude, I loved it. I watched it all the time. So I was I think a normal fear, because even when I watch it today, I'm like, and I know he's a gentle big man, but I had a very bad nightmare about it. But anyway, there's a picture of me in my like flannel jammies with the little ribbons and such. And I'm in this big cardboard box, and you're watching next to me. I think it's from that movie, but I didn't
Do you
find
have Do you have a picture of this?
there is a picture of it.
Proof of this?
I don't know if I know. I
you making
remember
this up in your
seeing
mind?
it. No, I remember seeing the picture. I just
Okay.
don't know where it is.
Okay.
Josh thinks I make everything up because
Well, I just don't remember anything.
Crotchety man.
Yeah. I remember. I mean,
Remember when you said mom said that you made her sad because you don't remember anything?
I make myself sad. I don't remember anything.
Did I just make that up?
Bums me out.
I just made that up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Case in point.
Okay, that one thing that I made up.
The one thing you made up
I made
during
up
the conversation
one
about
thing.
if you make things up and you happen to make something up, I think
Well, technically-
I rest my case. I remember this was your favorite movie.
Yes.
And I remember always the whole I always miss everything was somehow attributed to you. I don't remember why.
I always miss everything. Yeah, everyone
like-
said that was me. I don't
know if that was the one that like just kind of put that on you for some reason, but I always associated that moment in that movie with you for some reason.
Which is funny because it's definitely me older. Like I was watching it again today, and at one point when they stop after they've hit Harry,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, and they're like, Sarah, you all right? And she's like,
Yeah.
she makes this like vomit.
She
face
does like
with,
a weird face.
It's
Yeah.
so dramatic, and I'm like, that's definitely. I could see that.
Sarah's a bit dramatic throughout the whole thing.
She's an interesting character.
She's saucy.
I think Ernie's adorable. Back off, Sarah. It was him or me. So cute. But she's a lot because she seems like she's way older than she is, but then she's not.
Yeah.
But she looks older.
How old do you think she?
Well, like I don't know, but when she goes in and
I mean, she's a teenager, obviously.
yeah, but she just seems strange.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Well, this movie's so much fun.
Don't read the book.
Great memories. Apparently, don't read the book.
Horrible. I ordered the book for you, remember, on the eBay as well. I was very excited. It was going to be like our first episode. I was like, yay. Because Josh said he liked that snazzy poster
Yeah.
with the green, like Harry's green glowing
Well,
eyes and the rose.
yeah.
So I bought it, and they sent me the one like with a Harry-shaped hole.
Well, it's
in the
interesting.
door.
Apparently, in the marketing campaign of this, they kept Harry a secret. Like they only showed the eyes.
Really?
Yeah, and apparently it didn't do that particularly well when it came out, and that was so
even
part of the
scarier.
reason they thought was like, well, they didn't market like this, They didn't market Harry. People didn't know what the thing was. And so when they released it in Europe and other countries, they did different posters where it was like it was actually called like Bigfoot and the Hendersons, I think, in other countries to like get people interested in it, I suppose.
So there are several scenes in the movie that as we go through, I'll tell you, which are like terrifying to me, despite loving him. And this isn't really a scene from the movie, but I had a dream when our Gia is Welsh for grandmother, which we probably said before. And I was sleeping at her house overnight once, which is what you do when you are overnight anyway. And like if you walk down the hallway in her tiny little house that George Washington once slept in.
Yep.
I said slept instead of slept.
Yeah.
Slept. Anyway, you walk down the hallway into the guest bedroom.
Oh my God.
Anyway, the guest bedroom is right next to the bathroom. So anyway,
that was a very like squirrel moment.
ADHD, the attention deficit, hyperactive. No, attention deficit. Hey, donuts. That's what anyway, so I went to the bathroom. I guess I was still okay. This is hard. I was gonna say I went to the bathroom, but I was still in bed. I didn't pee in my bed. Okay. I thought I was going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, but I was dreaming. So in the dream, I'm coming out of the bathroom and I hear this noise and I look to the left and out of the bathroom or out of the bedroom is Harry like running at me. And I'm like, no! And it was terrifying. So that's my nightmare.
What are you, like 8, 9? Something?
No, I was older than that. I think
really?
I really want to say, okay, probably 8 or 9. No, I want to say like 10 or 11. I might even been older than that, but it scared the bejesus out of me.
Well,
but whenever I had to leave the bathroom at her house, I looked and then ran.
From that point on.
But now you'll appreciate this. I had trouble. I still, as an adult, I don't like to flush the toilet at night. I do it, everybody. I do it. But the sound of the toilet is what I heard.
No, but you know what though? You say that. I don't think you flush the toilet at night.
I do.
No, but I don't. Because
for all the listening people,
it's a waste of water.
Well, if it's yellow, let it mellow. But you know,
are you dropping loads in the middle of the night?
Oh my God, people do that. It's not my. It's not. I think you make a judgment call per the moment, but I think you let it mellow. The situation is not bad, especially with the problems with water in this world. There's no reason to be flushing the toilet, especially if you're going up to do number one a few times a night. You don't need to be flushing. What are you doing? Well, this also is fun. So because of that,
to save the planet.
I didn't like.
That's what I do to save the planet. Don't flush the toilet at nights. Don't flush the toilet at night. Save planet.
In a horror movie or whatever, they wait for a distraction to jump out and be like, ah. So if they hear that flush, they're like, this is a good time to come for this person. So I feel like any loud noise that I create in the night, I'm welcoming danger.
Have you seen a movie where there's a flush and then a murderer jumps out?
No, but it's sort of like you do a thing, you open a curtain, and it's like, bah! Like, I don't know. I'm saying you make a noise and then death.
So you're then saying that in your house in real life,
yes, what?
Anytime you make a loud noise, especially at night, you then think a murderer is going to jump out.
Not a murderer. I feel like my making noise allows the person or animal who's trying to be quiet, they don't need to be quiet anymore. Because I was scared to flush the toilet. Remember, one day, actually a couple times, it overflowed because I went number one.
I'm afraid to flush the toilet for months at a time.
I went number one a bunch of times in the night, and there was a lot of toilet paper, I guess. I was little. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, ah! And it overflowed, and you were cleaning it. You're like, this is what happens, Jessi, when you don't flush the toilet. You gotta stop doing that. Like, you were so mad at me, and I was like, I'm sorry. You were like, you're so dumb. Like, God. It was very Napoleon Dynamite. God, Jessi, the second time this happened.
Oh, and I was having to clean it for some reason?
You were helping. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if it was like we were trying to fix it before.
That's amazing. That's really good. Yeah. Well, clearly I've scarred you for life because you still think about these things. And I guess Harry scarred you for life.
I loved it. There's really weird to be terrified by something and love it so much. All right, now you may continue. Not that you remember what you were going to say.
No, I was just gonna. I was so glad that you had these like good memories about this movie and everything, and how much fun it was.
I brought a prop for later.
Just want to read you a little piece of this review from.
What if I forget?
From Vincent Canby in the New York Times in 1987. And it says, attention must be paid when a movie is as aggressively awful as Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh my God! Why? Stop! Don't read that garbage.
Though it's so pin-headed that it could be the last of its inbred line, it's not likely to spawn. This is the nastiest review I think I've ever heard in my life.
How are you going to hate on Bigfoot? Sasquatch.
This person, we looked at a lot of reviews compared this to E.T. because Spielberg, Amblin Entertainment made this.
Amblin.
And it was a few years after E.T. And so E.T. So there's a lot of like, this is just E.T. but not as good. It's
I have a word to say about that, but I'm going to wait.
Completely different.
I'm going to wait.
Has nothing to.
It doesn't.
Well, I mean, the idea of
the misty forest, whatever. And all I'm saying is
not visually. I'm sure the story is. It's like
visually.
I think it's a real. Visually, it's a very Amblin-y, especially the beginning, and the misty forest, like you said, and even like there's a shot where they're approaching the campsite. Something's approaching the campsite, and you see the sister looks up and screams, and even the way that shot and the light is revealed, it's very Amblin of that era, you know. But yeah, they were just comparing it to E.T.
Harry should have been in the forest under the E.T. ride. That's all I'm saying.
It was a fun ride.
That would have been freaking awesome.
Let's see. I just want to read just a couple sections because this is so aggressively hilarious and nasty. This
I'm
review
already
is
hurt.
So
I don't even want.
Funny. They're talking about how it's the conceit of William Deere, the director, co-author of the screenplay, sitcom family unit.
Yes.
One impulsive dad, one patient mom, and one wretched child of each sex.
Wow, that's actually really funny the way they say it. But how is Ernie wretched? He's like adorable the whole time.
Well, he wants to shoot everything, and
he's on a hunting trip.
He eventually, it's fine.
I
just think it's so funny how like mean this review is. It's
all right,
great.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, desperate. He just talks about random things. He says he's played by Kevin Peter Hall, a 7'2" actor who appears to be in a slightly altered Chewbacca suit.
What?
Yeah.
Chewbacca didn't even have a
However,
face.
it's not his looks or reputed smell that offend. It's his unctuous manner, which is that of the film itself. Harry's so sentimental, he'd weep at the sheer sweet wonderfulness of a Crazy Eddie television commercial. Tears of gratitude well up in his eyes when someone doesn't swat him.
Why is Vincent so angry?
I don't know. I don't know where this even comes from. We read one of his reviews on another one of these.
Let's look him up.
And I can't remember which one it was, but he hated that one too, whatever it was.
We had a terrible childhood, clearly.
Mr. Spielberg's own films about Middle America are never this vacuous, perhaps because his visions are based on first-hand observation of people and places. His movies are somehow related to the real world. There's a sharp comic edge, even to the all-out horror film on the order of Poltergeist. Harry and the Hendersons is based not on life, but on other people's fictions. Anyway, it's funny just because the review, he's so mad about it, and he hates it so much, and he's like, Spielberg makes better movies. He's a producer on this, but it's like, he makes better movies. It's like, who cares? And it's like, he doesn't talk at all about, like, he basically is mocking how sweet Harry is, and it's like, I always feel
that's the whole idea, is that he is more human than man, and it's like, or human than man, human than animal.
I know what you mean.
He's more human than animal. Like, what is it? I missed the part about E.T. Is he saying like, well, E.T. is like so much like classier? Like it doesn't even make sense.
I know. Yeah, he's saying
E.T.'s like.
He's basically saying the whole thing is he's basically saying that E.T. is a better movie, even though it's not really related to this in any way besides the Spielberg connection, and then there's like an outsider, a non-human entity that comes into the house. It's a completely different film. It doesn't make any sense. But there are other reviews that compare it, which I also don't get.
Well, I mean, they go with that vibe of the extraterrestrial instead of, but it's like he's a very terrestrial.
Yeah, but this is a this is a full-on comedy, and I don't.
It's just dumb.
It's just Is it? We say this, I think, often on this show. Is it a great movie? No, like as far as as far as film is concerned, no, it's not. But it's wonderful.
But
it's great in a non cinematic way. It's great because it's just fun. It's silly. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. There's a lot of logic. Who cares? It's great.
That man had a very sad childhood, and he just shouldn't. He doesn't deserve happiness. You know what's really messed up? Actually, I should have looked him up before I said that, because if something really tragic happened, I would feel bad.
Well, that's something you should have thought about maybe before.
Well, anyway, that review is garbage, and that's part. And that's.
I think so too. I think it's so not fair, and it's also. I think sometimes reviews are not really told in the spirit. That's why there was that one Roger Ebert review we read once where they were like, he was basically like, "This movie is not great, but doesn't want to be. It wants to be this, and that's awesome." And you're like, and that's what I feel like this is. And it's just it's a fun premise and a fun movie, and really what makes all this work is Rick Baker's work on this. He's the makeup and creature designer who's he's
good.
Legendary. He's like the most famous creature makeup in Hollywood history.
That makeup's unbelievable.
He's done he did countless things. I think he actually might have done E.T. if I remember correctly. But anyway, American Werewolf in London and Thriller and the Beauty and the Beast TV show.
Yeah. Ron Perlman.
Yeah, Ron Perlman. Yeah,
I couldn't think of it
also
last time.
Also the Grinch and Planet of the Apes.
What?
I mean, this guy's he is
the
like
Grinch.
the guy.
The Grinch.
And he won an Oscar for this.
He won an Oscar for Harry and the Hendersons?
Harry Henderson's won. He won the Oscar for best makeup this year.
I'm sorry. At no point are you like, look at that guy with all that makeup. It really looks like a Sasquatch.
Well, it's a whole suit and everything
amazing.
too.
But I mean, his face is so like
the face is so expressive, and I didn't actually look at how there must have been animatronics involved in that too. There had to have been or something.
Teeth.
But the teeth are insane.
When he flies off the car and his face is like, that's the part that scared me the most.
I know, but
scared me to death.
But that's why this so much. But all of that, what scares you, or what is so wonderful about this character, is just like just the makeup and the way and Kevin what I missed his. I just said his name and now I've forgotten it. Peter Baker. No. That's Rick Baker. The guy who plays Harry. I just said it and I forgot his name because I'm bad. But he was 7'2". Jeez. This guy.
Tall.
And he does such a great. I was noticing it today, like when he moves. Like the classic. There's that classic
the
gait. Yeah, that's a great word for the gait and just kind of like the upper body movements of it. He does such a great job.
Sometimes I get a giggle when I see someone with the Sasquatch gait.
The Sasquatch
love
gait.
it. You're like, and it's very specific to that because you're not like, oh, you have a unique walk, but when you say gait, you mean something else. You mean Sasquatchy.
This became a TV show.
Yeah, I have no knowledge of this.
Seasons, 72 episodes.
Was anyone in the movie in the show?
The guy Harry.
Oh, he was alone.
He did it, and then Bruce Davison was the dad. And as far as it was a sitcom, and as far as I can tell, it was on for 3 years. And
how do we never hear about this?
I watched a couple clips of it. It just seems like a lot of like Harry sits in a chair and it breaks kind of humor. It's sort of like
kind of like the.
I don't know.
It's like Larry.
It's so
the Three Stooges or whatever.
I don't know. I was blown
That'd be
away.
A cute cartoon.
I was blown away. Maybe it's amazing. I don't know, but I was blown away that it actually exists. And it was there for 3 seasons. That's insane to me.
I watched the Beetlejuice cartoon. You and Mom made fun of me. I know. You don't remember.
No.
I do. Yeah. I was on the carousel at the park and you made fun of me. But it's fine.
That's very specific in the location.
Same day, though, someone got pushed off the carousel and got dragged. Wait.
What?
Not the carousel. What's the merry-go-round?
The merry-go-round, yeah. I knew what you were talking about.
When you run and you jump on it and this kid just
got dragged. After I made fun of you for watching the...
But he was a weaker... Oh, it was earlier in the day.
Why was I making fun of the beautiful...
I don't know. You and Ma were saying something about it. Didn't like the show. I don't know. But it was like you were too old at that point to watch. I don't know. But the more important part is this kid got dragged on the merry-go-round. Because listen, he's a weaker link. Remember the rope swing we had in our backyard?
Yes.
And we loved it. We were like,
yeah, it's awesome.
Right. But we had certain friends that would come over and they would be like, I don't know how to do it. And they'd spin and hit their backs against the tree. And I always had a friend that would do that. I'm like, and that's a weak link child. Like you fall off the merry-go-round, you roll away. Like, or people stop because they don't want you to have fallen. This guy just clung up to it.
Oh my God.
And around and around.
Just imagine you as like an 8 or 9 year old be like, "You're a weak-linked child."
I just have this memory in my head of it being like, ah, instead of just letting go, let go, roll away. I'm sorry.
Roll away.
So anyway.
Amazing. Wow. Well, let's start talking about.
Can we do more
scenes.
quotes today?
Can
we do more quotes today?
No, every time.
All right, let's do it.
The eerie opening with the music. Yeah, but it is. It's very spooky and eerie, and the heavy footsteps. It's menacing.
Yeah.
And then it's intercut because it's like you see like a foggy the foggy area of the woods, and then it's like, and then you hear, you don't know who they are, but you hear it's John Lithgow and the kid.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, they're saying survival of the fittest.
The forest.
And you don't know what they're doing. And the 2 points of view, you're only hearing these things, and the 2 points of views keep cutting back and forth. The big, like, menacing footsteps and them walking, and then it goes up towards the campsite where they've made camp, and the mom and the sister are down there, and the sister looks up and she screams. And it turns around and it's John Lithgow, and he's got a
Nan! Would you look at the size of this thing?
He's got a rabbit that Ernie has shot, and it's it's a great mislead there. I didn't notice this. I noticed it today. They go down to the campsite. She's potting a plant, and like she loves plants, which we see later. But like she's apparently brought pots with her to pot the plant. I guess she's pulling up the woods. But furthermore, he brings the bunny over to like, what I never really noticed before is like they have like it's like a counter. I think there might be a stove. There's like a microwave or something. There's this whole thing.
Well, I know they had a TV.
Yeah, there's a TV. There's like a whole kitchen set up. Then they have a whole tent, and it made sense because later he talks about when the drive. He's like, "Wow, we're really roughing it out here." It's like roughing it. The only thing that was bad was when the generator went out
in the middle of Masterpiece Theater.
Yeah, we couldn't watch Masterpiece Theater.
One thing, this is really going to be weird, but the whole time I remember for this movie, it's the way things were said, like. Roughing it, George.
Well, Melinda Dillon has a very, very interesting kind of cadence in her voice and everything. The way she says, George. It is just a very specific way of speaking.
Are you sure?
But then again, Lithgow does too. Like Lithgow, I can't even.
Oh my God.
Even attempting to do it, I just sound like an old-timey guy. But he kind of has a little bit of that.
Dude, he's so good.
I don't even know how. I actually looked up because we kind of take we say like, oh, John Lithgow, and you sort of take it for granted because everyone knows John Lithgow. He's been around.
And he writes those books. He writes the poetry. Oh, he's so.
Oh, he
funny.
does?
About political stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So funny.
But I looked him up a little because I'd never done before. I was like, what is this guy's story? Like, where he seems to be ubiquitous in movies since I was conscious of movies.
Dad was always obsessed with him in Blowout. Remember in Blowout with John Travolta?
Yeah.
That was scary. He's super scary.
I didn't remember that was him in Blowout.
What's he super scary in too? Not Dexter. There's something else he's in.
Well, Dexter was his maybe the like recent generations. People know him from that. It's very, very scary. I was just curious about where he what his story was, and it's kind of nothing. I mean, he grew up in like New York, or not the city, but like upstate New York, I believe. He was from a very like successful family. I think his mother was an actress of some kind, and the father was, I literally looked it up today. I've already forgotten, but he was like, I think he was a producer of some kind. But he just he went there, went to Harvard, and then he went to Lambda, which is London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts, and he went over there, and then he came back, and he basically immediately started working. In 1972, he
Terms of Endearment, he's really good in that too.
In 1972, he does a show on Broadway, and it's his first play. He gets a Tony Award as like a featured actor or something. And then he's doing plays with Meryl Streep and this and that, and he just basically from that point on just works. Like he just sort of appeared and started working. And he's always been working. And I always love that. He's one of those guys that I always appreciate that. You see them, you know them, they're in everything, and you never hear anything about them. You never see them anywhere. They're not on the circuit. They're not doing the talk shows.
Which is funny that he's not, because
awesome.
he has made some, like I was just showing you, he's authored some books which look amazing, but you would think he would.
I mean, you know what? And he probably does stuff for that.
He's around.
But it's like, I just always appreciate when actors are just sort of like, when they... What a dream, I would think, to be able to just do what you want to do and not have to like market it. Would be
He's
so
just
nice.
John Lithgow. Yeah, I mean, who knows what
that'd be so nice.
But
anyway, back to this whole thing.
Oh, crap.
What
We're
about
talking about
John
something.
Lithgow?
Oh yeah, they're at the camp. Yay.
Yeah, so it's kind of that classic '80s thing of like, the men like hunting and the women are not about it. It's like they pack up the campsite, they're driving home, and there's like that very bouncy like theme, bum bum bum, which is done like almost like Mozart. It's like a very or Vivaldi, very classical. Yeah,
it's really pretty, and then
driving this just a gorgeous scenery of Washington is amazing. I don't know if they shot there or Oregon.
But I like it. They're
shot,
splicing it between like this adorable footage of like baby bear, like bear cubs.
Well, yeah,
and little like there's like a.
You're seeing all the wildlife as they're setting that up, and as they're just kind of the typical like husband and wife thing where she's like, George, do you need your glasses? Because he's like kind of squinting. No, I'm fine. Which I'm familiar with that.
She's like, would you please slow down? Like they're just like
that's right. Yeah. Also, please slow down. It's like I know these roads like the back of my hand, and they're driving fast, and it's hard to see, and they're just all kind of. Gently bickering the way that families gently bicker,
but it's not corn. Like it's really fun. Like they're really kind of bitchy at each other in a great way. Like it's not like, oh honey, please stop driving so fast. Like they're definitely it's very. It's good. They're good actors.
Melinda Dillon's so great,
awesome.
and she sells everything. It's awesome. But then of course they go through like a sunny patch, and he sees something, a shape, and he hits something.
Terrifying.
And you don't really see it either. You see it's like a big fur bulb essentially, and
really scary.
They slam on the brakes, and they're on this kind of road in the middle of nowhere in the forest, and he goes, he looks back, and we see like the big hairy thing, and he just goes, my God, I thought I hit a man.
And it's so scary because he sells that like it's not like funny. He's like, I thought I hit a man. Like it's so scary. You're like, oh my God, what is it? And then you see that big hairy lump.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like in the box, like. Like in my cardboard box.
So then they back up by
and as corrugated.
And as they pass it, the windows are open. They're all like, whoa, because the bear's like the worst smell in the world. Ugh. And
like our dog Tramp, love him. He had the stinkiest coarse fur. Remember Tramp? He smelled. I know you
Tramp.
No, I mean, do you remember how bad he smelled?
He did smell.
He stunk.
He didn't smell great.
I love him. What a beautiful man. Hey, pretty man. So beautiful.
So they're looking at this thing, and they're trying to figure out what it is on the ground. And Melinda Dillon goes, could it be a gorilla?
Do it like her, though.
How does she do it?
Could it be a gorilla? I don't think they have those around.
I don't think they get that big around here.
Shoot it!
Something about it, he looks at it and he's just like, something doesn't strike him right about it. And he goes back and he pulls out this rifle, which he promised he had not brought his rifle.
For protection.
And this is such a random moment, but I kind of like it that they left this in.
I like it too.
Where he just goes, he's like, well, he's loading the gun. And we've heard him actually at some point earlier say, that's why I didn't bring my rifle this time,
Yeah.
And so he's loading it and he looks at her, he goes, that's exactly why I brought it, for protection. And she just goes, you didn't have to lie.
I love it. First of all, that's another reason. Like that's such a true to life husband and wife moment.
Yes.
Like you didn't have to lie.
Yeah.
Like there's no need for that line in the movie. But it's so
all.
real. Like I would have been like, you didn't have to lie.
It's a very good.
It's so normal.
It's a very relatable relationship.
And
moment.
when he took that gun out and looked at her, he was like, I'm in trouble.
So he's walking up and it's like really tense.
Ooh, it's stinky and
scary. He's got the gun and everything, and he's kind of poking at it.
Ooh,
and then he's gonna reach down to like, just as he's about to touch it,
I'm so scared.
You have Ernie screams, shoot it! Which of course, like he jumps and he's like, it's dead.
Shoot it anyway.
And that's when he, I think, uncovers the hand.
Oh, where he
my
God. And the music. That music.
It's a swell. It's a really great moment where he there's this big lump of fur and he sees and he kind of pokes this hand, and this big giant hand unfurls on the ground. and it's that great music swell, and Lithgow like sells it while he's terrified.
It's so
and it looks so. It really is scary. It's a very well done.
The music is beautiful, and it builds up to this like crescendo, and right at the top, he goes, "Nah."
Yeah.
What?
And then they all come out of the car and they're looking around, and Ernie goes, "Dad, what if it's him?" Who? Bigfoot. And that's when you could see the wheels start turning for him, and he's like, well, we've got to take it home, because he's thinking like, oh, we can make money off of this. This is a major discovery, Nan. Then he's Bigfoot strapped to the car, the top of the car with a tarp over him, and you see like his face, you can like kind of underneath the flapping tarp, and then they're in the car, the camera's in the car.
Oh my God, so scary.
And they're talking about...
this is the worst part for me.
And then Melinda Dillon's like, well, what if he's the only one?
She's like, rendered an entire species extinct. Well, it's all in how you look at it.
It's all. Oh, that's right. It's all in how you look at it, and just then.
And that second,
Harry's face comes down in front of the rearview mirror from the top, and he's like this huge growl, and they all scream and they slam on the brakes, and he gets launched off of the car.
And he makes that sound, and it's a close up of his face, and his lips are like curled over, and he's like, "Oh, oh my God, it's so scary."
And he launches and falls on the ground, and he's out again. So George goes out to like check, and that's when Melinda Dillon has the thing where she like lowers the lowers the window, like, boo, is he dead? Boo, and then raises it up again. Yeah, boo, really dead? Boo.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Are you really sure?
You were sure the last time. and just putting the window up and down for every line. It was really funny.
He's definitely dead.
I'm not a doctor or anything, but he's definitely dead. And then, and I guess from there, so there's where it cuts to the first time we see LaFleur.
Oh, yeah.
And so then it cuts to
also,
like, this is what?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I know I cut you off. I'm never going to stop. So you mentioned Beauty and the Beast. LaFleur also has those cool little booties on, like Ron Perlman as Vincent.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know what's happening with those.
He does have some interesting kind of hunting. It's like
they're
almost
like strapped on.
It's almost like rags that are like wrapped on with.
It gives Mad Mardigan
cable or something. Yeah, very Mad Mardigan.
It's like boots and then like weird leggings with like straps all over them. Okay, anyway,
but it cuts to another part in the woods, and we see this guy. We don't know who he is, but he's a hunter clearly, and he's like a very like woodsman-y guy. And he goes and he finds that he's tracking something, and clearly it's Bigfoot. He sees a foot. It's funny. There's a foot, and then there's a tire track going right through the foot, which is hilarious. But then he bends down and like picks up this hair off the ground,
perfect lock of hair,
and then he smells it, and then tastes it.
Why does he taste his hair?
No, it's so gross.
But you know what? I can't judge.
What?
Because I have that weird, disgusting issue where when I see something that disgusts me, I'm worried I'm going to trip and it's going to fall and go in my mouth.
Oh,
it's weird.
See how that's related at all.
I get scared.
But this is the guy who plays LaFleur is David Suchet, who's this like very famous British actor.
He's so good in A Perfect Murder.
I haven't seen that. But is that
with Gwyneth and Michael Douglas, and he plays the detective. Oh, he's so good.
Well, he's most famous for playing Hercule Poirot.
Okay.
Which is for the Agatha Christie thing. So he's played this detective for over 7. It's amazing. 25 years he's played this role.
He's an attractive man.
Apparently 70 episodes over 13 different series. He's played this role of Poirot. But anyway, so he's actually now he's a Sir. He's Sir David Suchet now.
I like his last name.
He's that famous, yeah.
All right, I want to. Yeah, it's the same guy.
So anyway, he's so creepy. Tastes the thing, and then of course he finds the light. I love the license plates there because
it's all crinkled up.
They've got to have some way to get him to find who they are. So they find the license plate on the side of the road, which is ridiculous, but he does it.
Oh, it's so
and
great.
And then you see the family driving back with Harry, and I love this entire time. His just giant feet are sticking off the back of the station wagon, driving on the highway for hours. No one's like, "Oh, this is some really giant feet hanging off the back of that thing."
That's the weirdest thing ever. You can clearly tell that there's like a giant human-like creature on top of the car.
You see them pulling into their house. And then I guess he must find the license plate somewhere in here actually, because there's something's going on with the hunter, and then there's like this flash cut of Harry getting hit, and George can't sleep, and it's 5:30 in the morning, and he's like, oh, and then he gets excited. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go check on the Bigfoot, and he gets a flashlight.
The scene in the middle of the night with the flash of him jumping out. That's like what I saw in my nightmare.
Yeah.
Where it's just him like, ah!
Yeah.
And then that whole scene, this is a weird turning point in the movie because
what whole
that
scene?
was the scene from when he gets up to like the discovery
Yeah,
downstairs.
because he goes to the garage and he sees that.
Scares me too.
Well, he sees that
death.
Harry is not on top of the
my
car
God.
anymore.
And then
And he's like, what? And then he hears something inside, so he goes inside. And this is the scene you're talking about.
that is terrifying. And then it does. It's like a switch. It goes from really scary and like, oh my God, they're going to die to like, we're good now.
Well, they do it so it's a really well directed scene. I think
So
he comes
scary.
in the kitchen door, and he falls or trips. I think, and he drops the flashlight, and the flashlight starts spinning, and so you're seeing like the shadows of like kind of the Bigfoot moving and the shadows, and Lithgow slowly turning around towards camera, and you just see these kind of odd shapes and
the music.
and then the music is swelling, and finally Lithgow turns around. And there's a great kind of hero shot of Harry. He's standing in front of the open refrigerator, but it's like red. It's like lit with red, and it looks pretty scary.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
he's overturned the refrigerator, and
well, not yet. I don't think has he or has he?
he's drinking milk out of the thing in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know what he's doing, but it just like you genuinely think like,
oh no,
he's
you're right.
going to
You're
die.
right. No, you're right.
Like,
It's
you think he's
overturned.
gonna
That's
die.
right.
And
It's on the. That's what he's tripped. The tension's well done. The pacing is great. Everything's wonderful in it. And then Harry sort of traps George. George has tried to escape, and he won't let him out. And then eventually, he's like, you see how strong he is. He's like he like takes the refrigerator and like just pushes it, and it slides across the whole room. And there's all this stuff going on, and he gets George right up against the cabinets, and he screams for the family to help, which is very funny. And then Ernie arrives.
I love that he's about to like possibly kill him, and he's like, "Everybody, wake up! Come help me!"
I know. He's like, I need help. And then Ernie comes in.
Help!
Ernie comes in, and he's like, "Whoa!"
my
But
God.
immediately, Harry almost kind of like he starts purring. He sees like a young kid, and he like there's like a maternal instinct almost, or paternal instinct, I guess. But he kind of calms for a second, and then Nancy comes in. And then Sarah comes into it, and they all see it and everything. And he's like, "You gotta help me! What are you gonna do? You gotta help me!" And
Oh my God!
And Nancy somehow like she pulls out like a Glade air freshener and sprays it. And then he's like, and he likes the smell, so he starts following.
What are you doing?
He starts.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he starts following the smell. And then Sarah goes back in. She sees this corsage that she was gonna. What was she gonna wear to like her prom or something?
I was gonna keep that flower.
Yeah. I don't know what it was.
My 16th birthday corsage.
Oh, 16th birthday corsage or whatever. And she goes to rescue it. She picks it up, and Harry takes it and eats it. And she's like,
"That's the best."
Fear, I was going to keep that flower for the rest of my life, and you ate it.
I don't care.
And they're all like,
how big
"Sarah,
and ugly,
get
and
out of here.
smelly you are."
That is a bad thing you did. A bad thing." And he's like backing up, like, "What's happening?"
God.
And this is where you're really getting a lot of the expressions for the first time from Harry,
he's like
and how
totally
great,
scared of her.
how
It's a
great
little
the
bit
makeup
like my
is. and
dog
everything.
Linus is scared of things that couldn't hurt him.
Okay. Sure,
good.
it's a lot like that.
It is. It's a lot.
So
like
anyway,
that.
she backs him up in the corner, yelling at him, and finally she just goes, out of frustration, just goes, "Ah!" And then he goes, "Roar!" And her hair blows back, and they all run out of the room.
This is a
Or they all
great-
run out of the house, I guess.
Yeah, they do run a house, and then he goes on the rampage through the entire house.
Yeah, he
which
starts
is like-
exploring the house. First thing, he bumps his head into the thing, into the top of the door, so he just like pushes the door up. And the whole time, they're all watching from outside as these guys, as Harry like destroys their house.
And we know it gets destroyed, but too, in a really small way, as like homeowners now. I feel more of John Lithgow's responses, like when he starts crushing things and he's like, "Oh,
Oh yeah, that's true. I definitely, when he did that and he's walking up the stairs and the stairs are breaking, I was looking at it like, no, that's a lot to repair.
yeah!" Like Lithgow's like, "Oh, like,
Yeah.
everything he does." It's
Yeah,
like
he's
a
punching
shot to the
holes
heart.
through walls. He's doing some stuff.
God.
He starts eating all the plants and Melinda Dill. It's like he's eating.
He's eating
Oh my
my
gosh,
plant.
excuse me. He's eating my plants, and she starts banging on the window, and he like bangs back at her. Then he finds he finds the fish tank, and he's like is looking at the fish, and he sees them through the fish tank out the window, and he's mad at them, and that's when he goes over and he pets the deer. I
And
love
the music,
this.
and the music, it's like. Like
I don't remember the music there really, but I remember
it changes when he
sees the deer. He's like, oh, and he goes like friend, and he starts
like
he touches it,
deer.
and he goes, huh? Like he realizes, and then he has this great look where it's like he touches it, realizes something's wrong, and then like slowly looks over at George out the window with this look of like, you son of a gun. And it's such a funny expression. And then John Lithgow goes, oh dear.
Well, when does he punch through the wall?
Then he feels the deer
like
and he kind of looks over, feels behind because it's mounted on like a half wall or like a wall where there's a door well. So he reaches to the door and like is feeling behind on the door, and then he just punches through the wall and then and there's a really one little moment I loved in this. I actually wrote it down where he punches the wall and he feels and it like looks on Harry and he taps in the wall. And then it cuts to a close-up of the deer, and it's like obviously dead. And it's like there's a moment where that just works so well. It's like it registers what this is.
Like it's dead.
And Harry's furious.
It's just so still and like doesn't move, and he's like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah. From there, he just goes upstairs, and that's where George is like, forget it, this is it. I'm going to get my gun. And he goes and gets his rifle, and he gets a ladder, and he climbs to the stairs, and he's like, I'm not going to sit by. And it's funny because the family, and even Ernie, who earlier was like, kill it, this and that, Ernie's like,
he's not an animal.
Ernie's like, he's not an animal. And like and all the family's all against him now, but he's not listening. George climbs up, and he's got the gun and the scope and everything, and this is... Oh, I love this sequence. This is beautifully done too. You remember when he's on the ladder and he focuses and he's like getting him in his sights, and you see Harry inside, but it's only in silhouette. And he's looking at something it's like a mink, or I think is what he's got of some kind. And Lithgow kind of like, gets focused.
So like
he's sweating and he gets focused and he's like locked in, and Harry kind of like just gently like turns to the left a little bit, like he senses something's out the window. Yes. And we see just a little bit of his face, and he sees Lithgow, and he slowly starts walking towards him, and he's mostly in darkness, and Lithgow's sweating. And he's got the thing,
and he's like scared. He looks angry at first, like, and then you see how soft his face is.
Yeah, well, eventually, because he comes in the last moment, he steps into the light, and it's just revealed beautifully, and he has those eyebrows that are just like, it's so sad, and he has, it's just the most like human look. And again, this is all Rick Baker and the guy and the Rick Baker, the direction and everything that's done right here, and the guy playing him. It's so well done that you really do. Like, I feel it's one of those times, actually, I'll say this, in a lot of movies sometimes that are really great and you really feel for the people and everything. Very rarely am I like, oh yeah, I was right there in the movie. And in that moment, when he comes in the way it's shot, I really feel like George, like, oh, he's human. Like he sees his soul,
He's so ready
and then it cuts to, I think it's like a shot of Harry in the scope, like with the crosshairs on his face, and then Lithgow's finger like pulling the trigger back. And then he kind of like looks at his eyes and like lets go.
Yeah. And
you see, and Lithgow does this beautifully too, where it's like it kind of washes over him, where you see his heart just completely shifts.
Yeah, the humanity.
And it's a perfectly executed sequence in that way. Then Harry turns away and kind of walks off in the house, and George comes down the ladder. George, and he just goes, "I'm okay." And they get out of this. They get out of this brilliantly too, because the nenext moment, Harry just barrels out of the house with the deer head.
Jumps over the porch railing.
Jumps over the railing and starts burying and starts. Not the deer head. It's the mink stole. That's what it is. It's the mink stole. And he starts digging. He pulls out a plant and puts the mink stole in there.
Grandma's mink stole.
He's burying Grandma's mink stole. She's the one who cares. Who's been talking about how much animals mean and everything, and then she's like having to defend herself against the family. It's like, well, I didn't kill it, and Grandma didn't kill it. She just bought it from mink farmers who killed it because ranchers
that killed it
because they knew people would buy it.
And I love that even he's like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's like, oh.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know.
I love the way he looked at, don't you look at me like that. That's when Harry looks back at her, and she's like, what?
Yeah.
What are you all looking at me like that? It's so great.
So then he barrels back in the house, and they're like, or he's like, everyone get in the house. And they go to get in the house, and then Harry comes in. They're like, okay, everyone out of the house. And then you hear this loud crash, and then Harry comes back out with the deer head, and then he walks out the door. And he's going to go bury all the animals. He realizes it, and Lithgow looks over at another part of the house, and you see all of these
mounted.
I can't think of what's the taxidermied animals on the
yeah,
wall.
yeah.
And he just goes, uh-oh. He's like, keep him occupied. And he
starts jamming in them in the closet.
Yeah,
right?
he starts taking them all out and collecting them. And Nancy's
I love
got the
that
door
part
closed,
later.
and Harry's trying to get in the door. She's like, he really wants to come in now.
She's throwing lettuce at him.
Like, yeah, she's throwing lettuce at him.
Like it's a gerbil. Oh wait. Oh no, that's not that part.
No.
I'm sorry. That's when
No,
Lady.
but she's just trying to keep him out of the house.
Oh, okay.
And so he's pushing stuff into the closet.
Pushing his fingers off
he
the door.
Finally gets all the trophy heads into the closet, closes the door, and Harry bursts in. And then
it's like all of a sudden daytime, and they're like,
no, it's
weird.
not daytime yet. It's not because he called. This is what he calls the cops.
Oh yeah,
so he calls the cops.
Oh my gosh, how stupid of me!
Yeah.
Like that guy.
Yeah, the guy is just like he calls some guy who doesn't want to be there, and he's like, yeah, it's the sergeant or whatever it is, and he goes, all right. He's like, listen, please don't think I'm crazy, but I have a thing. It's in my house. And he's like, oh, is someone in your house? Yeah, yes, it's a thing. I don't think I'm crazy, but it's Bigfoot. And he goes, oh.
Bigfoot in your house, in your kitchen.
Oh, of course. How stupid of me. And then and during this whole time.
Hey, my daughter's corsage.
During this whole time, Harry's still walking around the house, and then Lithgow's just explaining everything that's happened in the movie so far, which all sounds insane, of course, to the cop. Harry eats a goldfish.
No, yes.
Harry takes a goldfish out and plops it in his mouth. Lithgow's like, "Hey!" And then finally, so the cop's like, and where is it now? And then you hear a toilet flush, and he goes, "He's in the bathroom."
Oh, of course. How stupid of me. Look.
Yeah, so eventually he hangs up and he's like, wrong number or whatever, and he hangs up the phone. I guess this is where it's like daytime, which it's not weird because remember, it was 5:38
no, I know, but
or 5:28 when he woke up.
For me, it did go, and I like, it does unfold really nicely, but I guess it does seem like 1 second he could potentially kill everyone, and then they're like, they bond. It's like they.
Yeah.
It's like.
Well, that's the scene we're talking about with the scope.
It's true.
It's right there.
But it's like they understand each other suddenly, and it's like, all right, so we're good now. You're not going to kill me. We're not going to kill each other. It's great. I mean,
it is because it moves into a different.
And then your buddy Laney
relationship, and Laney, my buddy, I don't know. We worked in that one movie, Finding Joy, and I didn't really know her that well, and I think I said I don't think it registered with me. I know it didn't register with me at the time. That this was her, because I hadn't seen this movie in so long. I forgot when I watched it again. It was like, oh my gosh, I would have called you and been like, hey, you should talk to. I would have.
What did you do to my roses?
I would have absolutely had Laney call you for sure.
Really?
Oh, for sure, because but I just didn't know. I didn't know. She was so lovely. She was really funny. She was a really nice person.
I love that she's alive, right?
I don't know. Oh. I noticed you asked me this. Nearly anyone I bring up this, you're always like, are they dead? Like,
well, no,
why?
Because
it's very mom. It's a very mom thing to do.
Well, we brought up stuff, and remember last time I said Melinda Dillon, and you were like, what? You didn't know she had passed away.
Did she pass away?
Yes.
Oh,
this is like deja vu. She did. She passed away recent.
That makes me sad. I'm remembering this now. I've forgotten.
She's in so many good films.
I know.
And Dad's
Close Encounters. Love it.
God, I forgot. Absence of Malice. So sad.
Let's get back to this movie.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, anyway, I love this part.
So then Irene, who's the classic nosy neighbor, who was watching their dog and getting their mail while they were away on the camping trip, she's bringing the dog back. Why are you clapping at me? What's happening?
But I remember because
don't you clap at me?
The phone rings and he picks up and goes, oh, no, sorry, no Bigfoot here. Irene. Oh, fine. Wonderful time.
Yeah.
So she's been dog watching and she's like
so Irene's bringing the dog
right
back.
over, and then all of a sudden it's like,
yeah, Irene's bringing the dog. That's Melinda Dillon's like, or Nancy's like, maybe we can head her off at halfway, and then the door knocks and she's right there, and so they start closing all the shades as they're going around the house because Irene's trying to she's such the nosy neighbor, and she's she's trying to look in, and she's like, why are you closing the blinds at me? I know you're in there. I know you're awake. And then meanwhile they're just going all around the house. They're closing all the shades. Sarah's lamenting her life. She's like, oh, this is great. Now Irene's going to tell everyone, and then no one's going to like me at school, and I'm going to be an outcast.
Yeah.
All this stuff. And eventually they get Harry to go into the basement. They convince him to go down to the basement because it's like a cave. And Ernie is trying to lead him down.
With a pool table.
And they go down. They get him in the basement. The door closes. You hear a huge crash. Lithgow opens the door back up. They're like, Ernie! And he's like, it's all right, Dad. The stairs just collapsed.
Again, sounds really expensive.
Yeah, it's so expensive. I can't. This guy's
God.
house. And you know what I thought too? He doesn't get any money at the end of by the end of this movie, where they let him go, they come back to that house. They got a lot of repairs. A lot of repairs to do in that house.
Right when you said that,
Yeah.
like it was a meme in my head, I just saw Charles Grodin's face.
Yeah.
Like that would be.
There should be more Charles Grodin in memes. Get on that, would you?
There's no replacing John Lithgow, but if there had to be someone else in there, Charles Grodin would have been hysterical. Speaking of replacing, but too angry.
Apparently, a little trivia thing. Apparently, John Lithgow, I don't know how this worked, but he apparently turned down the role of Frasier in Cheers.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I think it's great.
I love Frasier.
Yeah, but his career is amazing.
I know.
And what's his Kelsey
He would
Grammer?
have been good. Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
Also.
Interesting, though, because I read that and I was like, oh, I could see that.
Strangely attractive.
Oh, my gosh.
Giant head.
Again with the
I'm just
older
saying,
men. And
I don't mean that. I mean, he's charming. He's a charming person.
Okay. All right.
Charming.
Oh, I wanted to take just a quick little detour to trivia. I didn't want to get into this whole situation.
It's a really good show.
Let's talk about this movie.
Okay, good.
Well,
Yeah.
So eventually Irene comes to the kitchen door. They get him in the basement, closed away. Irene comes in. The dog immediately runs to the basement door, and she's like, "What are you all doing in there? Why are you so?"
And the refrigerator's up.
But they're all kind of trying to block what's going on, and she's trying to peek around and.
God.
Yeah, and then they eventually part in the refrigerator and all the mess that's been made through their whole thing with Harry.
I love that she walks into the refrigerator.
She does.
Too.
Yeah, the refrigerator is open on the ground, all the food spilling out, and then she starts talking about a diet somehow. She's
cod
like,
liver oil.
Do you have any peanut butter and cod liver oil? I'm on a new diet. And she's like, oh, yes, I know there's peanut butter here. And they're both on the floor looking through the refrigerator.
But then she literally, went up with the mail and she walks over the refrigerator door. Like, ugh.
Yeah, and she takes their peanut butter.
So random.
It's so random, and she leaves. Oh no! Before though, they're talking about exercise, and just as she's talking about exercise, and just then the floor right where Lithgow is standing starts getting pushed up by Harry. Clearly, it's and so Lithgow covers it by being exercise, Irene. Exercise is the only diet, and he starts doing his calisthenics to kind of hide the fact that he's being moved up and down by the floor.
And it's hysterical that obviously she doesn't
Oh,
notice
it's so ridiculous.
that there's a big
but this is
lump
what I
in the
mean.
floor.
But
But it's great. It's adorable.
How do you write a review about this movie being like, this is a ridiculous movie? It's like, it is.
Of course
but that's
it's ridiculous.
The point. It's like, I can't, I don't like, I don't know. Anyway, they open the door. They got to get Ernie out of the basement, and Harry lifts Ernie up.
Just see him floating.
He just floats up, and this is one of the best expressions in the entire movie. Lithgow takes Ernie and puts him down. He turns back, and Harry's right there looking at me. It's his biggest smile. And again, it's another bonding thing.
And they kind of look like they have this. There's definitely this supposed to be a strong kinship between Lithgow and the Bigfoot. They look alike in a cute way.
I don't think you should say that to John Lithgow's face.
I think he would understand.
Okay.
I don't have.
And then Harry gets up, and that's when the dog starts barking. And this is great.
I love
this expression is amazing. The dog runs in, starts barking and jumping up, and Harry's just like, ah. He's this look of what is this? It's the expressions. I'm going to say it a million more times, but it is amazing. It's so this creature is it's so brilliantly done. And so finally the dog jumps and he catches the dog and he goes to put his hand over his head to quiet him. And that's when Nancy walks up and she's like, this is our little pet, and shows Harry how to pet the dog.
Little pet.
Yeah. And then Harry loves the dog, and then he's fine with it and
It's
everything.
so cute. It's like a dog petting a dog. Oh God, it's so cute.
And that's when she sees he has a cut, which is great. She's like, oh,
he's hurt.
He's hurt. And then it cuts to
The best scene.
He's sitting on the ground and his hand is up on a table and she's got, what is it? She's got
Bactine
it's
or
like
something.
some kind of Bactine thing and she's got to put it on his cut. She goes, I really wish we had something that wouldn't sting. And
this is going to hurt a little, okay?
And Ernie's like, I just close my eyes and do this. And
then he
just
does it
scrunches
too.
his face up and Harry does it. And then she puts the Bactine on and Harry just goes, and he just starts banging the table. But it's like the most adorable thing. It's so cute.
But then they're just talking about all the things that they can do and what to do.
Well, they start talking about, should we keep him?
They're like
'Cause
strategizing.
Maybe we can keep him and get rich, you know.
Keep him, George.
Yeah. It's a ticket to a better life, you know. So they're having this debate where Melinda Dillon's like, no, he's got to go back. This is not safe here. And then he says, well, at least he's safe here in the house, to which we cut to LaFleur. This is where he goes to see Wallace Wrightwood, known as Doc, and which is Don Amici, who is, by the way, won Best Supporting Actor for Cocoon the year before this came out. Oh. So he just won an Oscar and then went and did this movie, or maybe a shot already.
Things.
Yeah, and so and Don Amici too, like his career, just like
Wasn't
old
he on
Hollywood.
in a movie on a boat or something? Or was that Burt Lancaster?
Probably in everything.
Like a sailor and he's dancing around doing stuff. I'm gonna look it
He's
up.
just old Hollywood, been around forever, just like and so classic. I watched his acceptance speech and it's that voice that I can't even do it. That his voice is this wonderful. He was the voice of the one dog in Homeward Bound.
I can't talk about it. Oh yeah. Oh, Shadow. By the way, if you haven't seen Homeward Bound, Chance is my dog.
Okay, so Don Amici is wonderful, and so we have he calls LaFleur Jacko, and so what we learn in this scene is that these two have been hunting Bigfoot
I would never know that that's him.
Yeah.
By the way,
yeah, they've been hunting Bigfoot their entire lives, and at one point Don Amici or Wrightwood gave up and opened this what does he call it? North American Anthropological Museum or something like that, and it's basically a roadside souvenir hut.
it's a roadside attraction for Bigfoot stuff.
Yeah, for all Bigfoot stuff. And so he kind of gave up hunting. And we learn later on, there's this bit that he ruined his life. The reason is he ruined his life. He had a great life, and then he caught like a glimpse of Bigfoot once, and he became obsessed. And he said for 50 years, he'd been looking for this thing.
And his family left him,
He
and
had
he was
no
just
friends,
like
and he
such
has
a
this kind
loser.
of this kind of quack on the side of the road now.
And then Jacko.
And then Jacko, who's this hunter who never gave up. And that's what this whole thing is. He's like, I never gave up. You'll get me, you know. And he's all mad. He's like, I've got to fight him this time.
Keep going, Jacko's. Lord knows I need the business.
Lord knows I need the business. What a great voice that guy had. Oh, so
I want to watch Cocoon.
talk about this movie.
Okay.
So we go. So we're back at the house.
You speed up then.
We're back at the Hendersons' house, and I guess the family has been out for a while. The women come back, and yeah, they're all like. Well, that's not even yet, though.
I gotta do the
No,
laugh.
it's not yet, though.
I
It
know,
was when George comes in. He's like, you got to see this.
Yeah, I
Look what I'm
know.
doing. And he's trying to teach him to sit by giving him sugar cubes, which I love. Melinda Dillon's like, George, those are just empty carbs.
Calories.
Or calories. Sorry, empty calories. He's like, okay, watch this, everybody. Sit. And Harry keeps trying to grab the sugar cube. No. Sit. No. Sit. And so Harry sits by leaping up in the air and crashing on the sofa, which immediately breaks the sofa. Boing. And then he starts doing it again. And every time someone says sit, he does it again. He breaks his stool.
Great. You taught him that sit. Like, I love that kid's voice.
This and he breaks that. And finally, Belinda's like, we need to, she pulls George out of the room. And he's like, he had it 5 minutes ago. And she's...
Don't
sit. And I have a thing where I said Melinda Dillon is so great in this scene. Which is where it's this whole thing where she's like, we should be thinking of him, and it's this really great kind of moment. I was watching it going, these two are really great actors, and like this is like a nice little scene they have here. And then she's trying to say, we've got to send it back. You have to think of him. Stop thinking of us. How dare you treat him like this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, Ernie runs and he's like, guys, you got to see this.
Oh yeah.
And this is where he's watching.
Oh my God, he's sitting there. He's got like the onion dip.
He's in a recliner.
He's got his feet on either side of the TV. His big, giant Bigfoot feet. And he's watching what is he watching? The Three Stooges or something?
He watches something on some...
And he's laughing the craziest
just
laugh.
Cracking up.
Oh, I already did that loud laugh. I just feel weird doing it again.
He's just cracking. It's a great... Yeah, it's
like so human.
So human and huge, and then whatever he's watching. I almost thought for a second it was Ronald Reagan in it, but I don't know if it was. But it's like
he gets switching.
It's like at one point he sees like a 50s sitcom, and there's like a monkey of some kind
and he
at the
puts pie
table
in his face,
and he's like partial to the monkey or whatever, and then the monkey like throws something in the actor's face, which I thought was Ronald Reagan, but I don't know if it was. He throws it in his face, and he just cracks up, and so he throws onion dip at the TV. It's very fun, but then. That's when George sees this and he's like, yeah, you're right. We got to send him back. But I don't know if it's going to be easy. I think he likes it here.
Yeah.
And then they come to the getting him out to the car at night.
I brought a prop for this scene.
Oh my gosh. You've only mentioned it 7 times. They decide they're going to drive him back to that night. And so they lure him out to the car he's just bought so much fast food, and we've talked about this before.
Oh, it looks so good.
I don't know why in this particular movie. I don't know why. It's just like a ton of McDonald's style or.
Because the sound
there's something about that sound.
Wash it down with a chocolate shake.
Yeah, so they're trying to get Harry into the car, and he's just got all of these fast food burgers and fish sandwiches and fries, and he's like, oh, here you go. He's like, oh, look at that, good, right? And Harry unwraps one as a burger, and he's like, raw, and he throws it away. He's like, oh, right, yours is the fish, and he gives the fish. He's like, here you go. He's a fish fillet. Oh, fresh catch of the day, which is very funny. And then he's like dozens and dozens of this food.
A dream come true.
Wrapped packet burgers and whatever.
Armful of.
But it's that
burgers.
Sound, and we talked about this once where we really was like, there's something about that. It was like, oh, that sound is so great.
Here, take the burger.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
good.
he opens the back door and Harry's like, raw, because he doesn't want to get near the car because the car hit him last time. And he throws all these burgers in or whatever, the fish sandwiches. He's like, look, ooh, good. All you can eat, everything you could want. Here's some fries. He throws some fries in. He's going to wash it down with a chocolate shake. He throws the chocolate shake in. Harry does get in the car.
Yeah.
He tries to sit up so his head like pops a big bump up in the ceiling of the car. Lithgow gets in, and then Ernie throws all the burgers down, runs inside crying. And so Lithgow gets out and goes to talk to him, and they all have like a little family meeting where he's talking about, we've got to do this for him. We've got to think of him, and it's the right thing to do. And then Harry's watching from the car. He starts crying for some reason.
He just feels because he's an empath. It's the empathy. Like
that's
he
a good
knows.
Point. Yeah, Harry's an empath. He knows.
It's just like the way if I cry or I'm upset about something, Linus will your
pet,
like
an animal. Yeah,
your pet or animal. They will come up to you like
they sense fear.
Linus will lay on top of me and lick
danger.
My face. He does, and he looks at him like. I don't know if I fully get this, but I'm in the car. He's crying. It's just really sweet.
And so he busts out of the car and runs off into the night. And
what does he say? This is another thing I didn't hear when I was a kid.
What?
But he's crying. So John Lithgow's talking to his son, and he says something like, "We'll go out there like a couple of
real men.
Couple of real men." I had no idea. My whole life.
Couple of real men. I don't know.
This was very outdated. It was really sweet though, but it was.
It's meant nicely. It's just like an unfortunate '80s speak. So Harry runs off. He breaks into some random house.
Oh, it's so good.
And he's rooting through a refrigerator. The woman wakes up and she's like, someone's in the house. I love she's got curlers on.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, someone's in the house. And her husband's like, what should we do? And she's like, I've got it. And she opens the drawer and pulls out a gun.
I love it. See? A woman, okay?
And so she goes down and she's got this gun. And then she sees some kind of stuff. I can't remember if it's the kitchen floor or whatever she sees, but she does see like Harry's toe.
Like an olive rolls out.
An olive rolls out of the kitchen. She sees that, and she sees like what looks to be, she thinks is a mouse, but really is Harry's toe. It like just behind the refrigerator, just disappears behind the refrigerator. So she rolls up like a magazine and swats it, which of course they have a great like low angle shot where she hits it, and then it cuts to Harry like, and it's this huge low angle shot of him, and she just passes out.
I love the fact that she whacks his toe with a newspaper, and he's like,
I know, it's so much pain. It's so much pain.
And she's like, ah! First of all, she gets scared. The other day I was hiking. Side story.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I was hiking. I'll make it fast.
And
this woman was walking ahead of me, and I wasn't paying attention, and Linus got a whiff of something, I guess, and turned a little corner. And as soon as I turned, I had that same like, what the heck? And then I screamed because she was peeing in the bush, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I didn't know what it was.
A woman?
Yeah.
A woman was peeing in a bush?
Sorry, I'm pregnant. I was like, oh my gosh, scared me to death. But it was the same, there was no connection.
No, there was zero.
It just startled me.
There was zero connection at all that you were startled by a woman peeing in the woods.
I saw her foot sticking out from a bush, and I was like, what is that? Ah! Like, see,
did you think for a second that maybe you had like discovered a body? Like you were like a jogger?
I don't, when you, okay, listen.
This is why I don't jog.
You turn a corner and you see someone crouching in a bush. It scared me. I was like, oh my God, but I saw the foot first. You can edit that out. I'm sorry.
Well,
I don't tell good stories.
I mean, I think the idea of coming around a woman peeing in a bush is not bad, but it
startled me, and I saw the foot first.
Ill-timed, perhaps. Okay.
Just delete.
So in the morning, Ernie's at the door with the dog, and he's like, "Run, go free!" He's like trying to set the dog free because they let Harry free.
No one knows what you're talking about right now.
That's what I just said. In the morning, Ernie's at the door with the dog, and he's like, "Go free!" Trying to set the dog free, like they set Harry free last night, and he's like half crying.
But they didn't set Harry free. He ran away.
Well, they were going to. He was going to drive him to the mountains to set him free, you ding-dong. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I know what was happening.
So anyway, then it's like, Lithgow and Nancy in the kitchen in this awful show, Good Morning Seattle. I mean, really? Really? Can you not focus? Can you have... Good Morning Seattle is on. This is the most obnoxious host. He's even worse. He's even worse than the host in Reality Bites. Good morning. He's even worse than him. This guy's the worst.
Speaking of Frasier.
No.
That's what he's in it.
No.
He's in it.
Stop it.
I also one more thing to say. I'm not going to say it. I can't say it. I want to.
No.
Okay. So cheesy. You can't watch it without crackers.
Gosh. So Good Morning Seattle. I hate this guy. Harry's and so Lithgow hates this guy, and he's just like, I can't stand this guy. But
I like when he goes, I hope you're sitting down, and he immediately stands up, which is probably irrelevant, but it was he hates him.
I think it's a very realistic thing. I hate this guy. And Linda goes, well, let's turn it off. He goes, no, let me hate him.
Oh, yeah. And
Which is so true.
I do love that even though he's the sweet dad, you feel how disgruntled he is, like going to work. He's like,
he's not happy.
He's really mad.
And then so anyway, they listen, and there's been a report. This guy, this awful morning show host is talking about that a Bigfoot has been sighted in this lady's house, which she mistook for a mouse. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's Harry. And Melinda Dillon's like, go to work, go. He's like, I gotta look for him. He's like, no, go to work. Gets him out of the house, and then so anyway, you can see Melinda Dillon's kind of thought it was Harry and was upset. So even though she's like, don't look for him, she clearly wants it back. Then
she does.
Then we're at LaFleur at the DMV. And
he's telling an elaborate lie, and it's funny to watch because I'm like, that's me.
It is an elaborate lie. He's doing this whole thing about, it's like, I'm driving down the expressway. I see old army body. It's crazy.
I'm thinking I would like to get in touch with you.
Years later,
I find his license plate by the side of the road. You're like,
this whole story. The woman's just typing. She rips off the thing. She's like, $10.
She's like, I don't care.
I don't care, sir.
Don't care.
I don't care why you want this license plate and information, but that's what he's getting. He's trying to find out where this license plate, where the owners are. So then we're with George at the Sports Star. The sports store. Sports Star. Yeah, that old Sports Star. See? And so he's at the sports store, and we find out later it's his dad's sporting goods store. But he goes into these two guys who are two other employees who are like, "Hey George, how was the hunting trip? And they're making stupid jokes, and they're talking about the Bigfoot sighting. And then he walks out. And he has this great line. It's on his back. Totally doesn't have to be in the movie, but to your point about how he's disgruntled, he has this exchange with these idiots, and he's like, and he walks out. And the camera follows him down, follows on a shot of his back, and you just hear him go, I'm working with Batarasis. It has nothing to do with anything else.
Nothing.
And it completely has no bearing in the movie at all. But it's just like he's just so disgruntled.
It definitely gives him it gives you so much more of a glimpse into this character.
Yeah.
And then you meet
it's just
dad
it's just a character moment.
He's just like.
But before that though, so LaFleur shows up at the house. He shows up at the Hendersons' house dressed as a park ranger or a forest ranger or whatever he says. Nancy comes to the door and he's like, and he holds up the license plate and he's like, you were in an accident with a creature, with an animal. And our concern, of course, is for your family, but also for the poor creature. It could be injured or whatever. And she starts talking about...
She does a good job.
Well, actually, he has the great line. He's like, I know you would want to help me find it so I could care for it.
And she's like,
it's just so good.
And she's like, no.
No.
I love.
But yeah, she's. Oh no, it's fine. No, we hit. He just hit and he's got up and just walked off into the woods.
It walked.
And that's it's such a memorable. It walked. It's this great
because an animal you would say that you'd be like, hey, just walked away. She's like walked, and she goes, oh, scurried, scampered, wobbled, creeped. I'm sorry, I've got to go, and I've got an overflow sink in a potty,
yeah,
and you're like,
he knows something's going on. He's trying to he wants to find out where it is.
Weird. Walked,
and then after that, then he comes. As chance would have it, to the sporting goods store where Lithgow works.
Do you have an Emma? I love that. That's
and
the
he
best
goes
line.
up to Lithgow. And Lithgow's like, can I help you? And he's like, probably not. This is the fourth place I've been. And he's like, oh, okay.
So
He buys the kind of these giant Remington bullets that are
huge,
just gigantic. And he goes,
my
oh yeah, we
favorite
got a
part's
box of
coming out,
those. And he hands them to him. He's like, yeah, we don't have much need for these. He blows the dust off the top of the box. He looks at the bullets and he goes, do you have any more?
Well, there's 20 in there,
Do you have any more? And he's so pissy.
Oh my God. Do you have any more?
He's so pissy about it. But then he walks out, and that's when George's dad walks up, and he's like, oh, there he goes.
Is this the first time we meet the dad?
I think so, yeah.
And he's got that voice. Who is that
and
actor?
then Matt Walsh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, there he goes. And he's like, who is that guy, Dad? And he's like, oh, that's Jacques Lafleur. And we learned that he used to be like a world-renowned hunter before he became obsessed with Bigfoot and kind of went insane.
I love this
And then
part.
he's like, and there's this big giant stuffed bear called Claus. He's like, that's who shot Claus here.
That guy shot Claus.
And it turns, you see this huge bear, and he goes, why? And Lithgow's like, why would you part with such a trophy like that? He goes, well, it's probably because it's the smallest one.
Oh, I love that part. I don't know why.
So Lithgow now knows that this hunter is like a real deal, and he doesn't, and he's clearly in town for the Bigfoot sightings, which makes him nervous. And there's also a great match cut of there's this bear, the bear face, and it match cuts to the librarian who has this crazy hair.
Oh yeah, Sasquatch.
And George has gone to this.
So
George has gone to
80s.
the library. Yeah, very kind of weird '80s hair and very funny. And he's gone there to look for books on Sasquatch, as he says. And she says, and she leads him to, tells him where to get the books.
Legends, lore, whatever.
So he gets all these books. He comes home and Ernie's reading one of them. He goes, this book sucks. And it's all the books are like how scary Bigfoot is. And she says, this book sucks. And Nancy's like, Ernie, don't say that. He's like, no, Nan, it's true. These books are all making him look out to be this horrible beast, this monster. And he's not. He's not, except this one. There's this one by Wallace Wrightwood at the North American Museum of Anthropology. He seems to understand. And then they're looking through this manual, and in it is a picture of Lafleur. And he goes, he's like, that's the guy, the hunter guy. She goes, no, that's the man who came to the house today, Robert Smith, or whatever.
Robert Smith, yeah. It's something like that.
And
they came to our house today.
Yeah.
I love the way she says it.
That lying
bastard.
Right? She says something.
Yeah, that lying bastard. Mom.
Yeah.
I love that. Because we were probably like.
So then they put together, this guy is obviously been in the house. He knows they're panicked.
Which, by the way, when you just said that, I got the chills. That's really creepy that this hunter snuck up to your house.
Well, that's what he does. He's been obsessed with this thing. He's a hunter. Yeah,
but it's creepy.
So then it's Harry by the highway, and this sad scene where he's looking at the mountains. And he's looking at the mountains, and there's 8 lanes of traffic, and he's just like, oh.
He's standing there, and he can't. All he wants to do, and he can't get over.
He can't go home, and it's so loud, and he's scared.
So loud.
It's so sad. So George drives out to go see Wallace Wrightwood.
Yeah.
Who wrote the Bigfoot paper manual. When he goes to this museum, and that's where he sees Don Amici. He doesn't know who he is. he just goes, he comes
Two
and says, "Is Wrightwood here?"
disgruntled men talking to each other.
Two disgruntled men talking to each other, and Don Amici's like, he's like, I can tell from you don't believe a lick of this, do you? Like at all the stuff and all the Bigfoot legend. He goes, but let me ask you this: as a city man, this is a really funny point. And I was watching this with Keelan. This is funny. He goes, as a city man, you've been around a lot of pigeons in your life, millions of them, right? And Don goes like, sure. He goes, you ever seen a baby pigeon? The guy was like, well, no.
I think about
He
that.
goes, they exist, but where they? And Keelan looked at me and goes, have you seen a baby pigeon?
I've never seen a baby pigeon.
I haven't either. She was like really like, whoa.
I did see a baby squirrel. We're at one point.
He's probably in this. I'm gonna get him.
Well,
they're upstairs. I hate them. So George is asking if Wrightwood's there, and Michi's like, he's not here right now. He's not giving up who he is. And he says, how do you know about this Wrightwood anyway? And he goes, I've read his books. He's the one who seems to believe. And then he's saying, yeah, get out of here. He's like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. It's like, if you want to
talk shop, then shop.
Yeah, just kind of shuts him down because he doesn't want to get involved for whatever reason. So George comes out of the shop with like all this ridiculous Bigfoot
But he leaves him the note.
And he leaves, that's right, he leaves a note.
Vital facts that would...
Yeah, he basically leaves a note saying
it's like an excerpt
give
from
this
the book,
to Wrightwood,
right?
give this to Wrightwood.
Oh, no, it's not.
And this could, because basically... This is important information that could lead to the extinction of Bigfoot.
The big fellow.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
The big
so he
fellow.
leaves him like
he leaves him a note and a phone
number.
number. And then he goes back home and he's sort of telling them about the museum and everything. And Melinda Dillon sees the beautiful picture of Harry that he's drawn.
Yeah, but we didn't mention that the dad asked him to do that.
Because it hasn't happened yet.
Yes, it has.
No, it hasn't.
That's why he's drawing it.
Oh.
That's not why he's drawing it?
No! Oh. We learn here that George is also an artist, and he's always loved painting.
We already knew that because he said, don't watch out for my drawings.
Okay.
Although I thought he was an architect at first because our dad's an architect. But when they're driving from the mountains, he goes, watch out for my drawings. But they weren't.
Gosh. No.
Right.
So anyway, this is the first time he's talking about it, and we see this beautiful drawing of Harry. I don't know who did it, but it's like
a hobby.
And we see it's like his hobby. It's his actually not hobby, it's his love. It's his true. We learned this a little bit more about him. It's like his true love is painting and drawing. And he's on this beautiful picture of Harry. And then it's Harry is sort of out in the neighborhood, and this was watching the chicken boil.
Oh God! Again,
he's watching a guy clean up a dog's poop, and he's like, "What?" And then he goes up to this window, and there's a woman with this boiling water, and it's that sound. I don't know. It's so satisfying. It's such a weird sound.
Are you going to get to the connection to the hot tub? Because that is hysterical.
So he's looking in this window, and there's the boiling water.
Yum.
And then he looks behind him, and there's a hot tub that's boiling.
With some fat people getting in.
Not yet. And he looks back, and then she has this chicken. This woman, she's putting a chicken. I like, by the way, she's in a full nightgown. Cooking dinner.
With like a little yeah, and
she's dinner.
Well, she's probably making.
No, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear what any of this is.
She's making chicken stock.
So she puts a full chicken.
Yeah, you don't.
So
do
she
that.
puts the full chicken.
She does.
And then he turns around, and there's these two overweight people getting into the hot tub. And he's like, and he's super confused, and it's just cutting back between this and that. And then after a few moments of this, you hear some guy go, "Hey, buddy, get away from that window!"
And then the lady.
And then Harry comes out and he's like, oh, and he runs off, and his girlfriend screams, and Harry's like, oh, and he runs away too. And then the news vans and the cops arrive.
The greatest.
And not yet. And then LaFleur is there too, and he sees like the broken branches from where Harry ran, so he's tracking him.
Does he lick those too?
Then we're at George. No, he's just looking, and he goes off, and then we're with George at work, and there are all these Bigfoot sightings are happening more and more, especially after this one. And so that's when the dad's like, George, you still mess around with that art stuff?
Painting stuff.
That painting stuff. He's like, well, yeah, Dad. And in fact, actually, he's like, right. So he's like, love me, Father. And he's like, I want you to draw a Bigfoot, a very scary, big fangs, just gonna drool.
I remember that.
And he's like, we'll put it up here, full size. We'll put it up here. It'll be kind of like a Bigfoot HQ.
A Bigfoot headquarters.
Yeah.
BHQ.
A BHQ for all the people that want to do these sites. We'll have a map of all the different places he's been sighted.
Dad's finally asked him to do something artistic.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh.
Which he says in the scene. So then he cuts it home, and Melinda Dillon sees him drawing, and she kind of like looking at him lovingly and walks in, and the camera, we're kind of pushing in on George at his house, and goes over his shoulder at his drawing board, and it's like a big scary Bigfoot
terrifying,
face.
Like blood on the teeth.
Yeah, and George like crumples it up and throws it down. And she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, the first time my dad asked me to do something artistic, and it's to do this,
My best friend or something,
It's like drawing a evil picture of your best friend or something of that nature.
About the bullseye or, yeah. It's so sad.
And so he's really conflicted about this. And then, so he brings, and she says to him, she says, you know what? If your dad wants a Bigfoot, you give him a Bigfoot. And so he draws this beautiful full-size thing of Harry. And Dad looks at it and says, I wanted King Kong, and you brought me a goddamn giant gerbil. And he's arguing with him about it, and maybe he feels things, Dad. Maybe he's this. He's like, And then as he's walking away, he goes, I should have got a real artist.
Oh, it's so cold.
It's so nasty.
When's the part?
So they walk in, and the place is packed. The sporting goods store is packed, and people are freaking out. And Lithgow's at the counter, and this customer's like, he's like, give me a gun. Give me the biggest gun. Give me the biggest gun you got. And he's like,
we've got some big guns and some big guns, but I'm afraid we're all out of big ammo.
Yeah. And then the customer says, and the customer is like, hey, listen, man. His thing was spotted 3 blocks from where I live. He's like, where do you live? He's like, what does that have to do with anything? It's for the gun. And he goes, I live it. And he gives him an address. Yeah. He's like, where was the sighting? He's like, what does that have to do with anything? He's like, where was the sighting? And he tells him where it was. And then George runs out and he quits. He's like, Dad, I quit. And
what do I do? He runs out.
Oh, that's right. He runs right into the dad.
Who's holding the Bigfoot sign.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. It's like an important part.
Oh.
And he's redrawn the face with big fangs and blood. He goes, not the only artist in the family, huh? And he's made him look really scary and evil.
He's
like,
that's my drawing. Where'd you change it?
He's like, what does it matter to you? It's just a drawing. He's like, it means something to me.
Can't you see that? He means something to me.
Yeah, and he's like, what is wrong with you? He's like, I quit. He goes, you can't quit. We've never been so busy. And he runs out, and then George drives to the sighting where the sighting was, and there are news crews there, and they're talking to this bike rider.
Oh, you do it. You do it. It's so good. It's so good.
This guy's bike rider's there, and there's a cop with him and a reporter. He's like, tell us what happened. He's like, all right. He's got a helmet on.
This is how I picture all of those bikers, by the way. Sorry, people listening, but it's true.
Sorry, all bikers, but it's true. They're very annoying when you're driving.
So annoying.
The biker is there, and he's like, okay. And remember, the cop is there too. And he goes, okay. So I pulled up to a stop sign, and I always come to a complete stop, as I always do when I arrive at stop signs, which I love. It's a random detail.
And they never do.
And then he's like, all right. And this beast comes out. He's got this enormous fangs, these giant hands, and he growled at me, and he lifted me up above his head, and he smashed me down out of the pavement. And meanwhile, George is there listening, and he's got this expression of like, "Come on, this is ridiculous." And he's like, and he smashed me down, and that's what he was gonna eat me. And
so I grabbed my mace. Mace, you idiot!
Mace, you idiot! Well, I didn't. I was going to. He was going to eat me. He was going to eat you. What? You're going to be eaten by a vegetarian? You know? And he goes, I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what really happened.
Yes.
He said, you pulled up and you saw him. I have no doubt you saw him, but you got scared. You got so scared that you fell down. You crashed your precious bike, and then you were too embarrassed to say it. That's what happened, isn't it? Isn't it? And the guy, for no reason, like he's so emotional, goes, yes. And it's like it's like he's confessing to a murder that he's kept secret for 40 years. It's so emotive and insane. But
oh my God.
But the camera, so he's embarrassed. He's revealed this guy as a liar, and the camera crew's turned to him like, well, who are you? How do you know all this? Do you know him?
George what?
George what? George Hen? George what? George Hen? And then the camera's turned him, and he can't get it out. He gets so scared, and he gets freaked out, and he's like, oh, I've got to go. I'm sorry. And he runs to his car, and they all follow him, and he gets it. He drives off. But that yes is so amazing.
And I just... Yes!
Then it's nighttime, and Harry is running through this kind of a city area.
And it becomes the weirdest
oh my gosh, it's so crazy.
Fake city
and
set.
They're on the Warner... I'm pretty sure it's the Warner Brothers. It looks really...
It's creepy that you know that.
No, it's awesome.
But it's cool. No, it's cool.
But I'm pretty sure,
I
was watching it, I was like, it really looks like the Warner Brothers lot to me. Apparently, they shot this at Disney over the other way, but they don't have a backlot like this. So, anyway, the point is, he sees all these in some shop, all these TVs, and Harry's like confused and scared. And on the TV comes the news footage of George, and he's like, oh, and
he sees him and he grabs the TV.
And he pulls the protective the bars off of the window, and he smashes the glass and pulls out a TV, and he's like petting it. And he licks it.
Oh, that's right. He does lick it, and it gets you see a little static electricity.
Yeah, and he moves a little too far away, and it comes unplugged, so the camera, so the picture disappears. He's like, oh, and he looks at it and looks back. He sees all the other TVs with George. He drops the TV.
He's so happy.
Keeps picking up TVs and keeps on getting unplugged and dropping them because he wants to see George. And then he hears sirens coming in, and a cop car pulls up. They're like, what the heck is that thing? And Harry takes one and throws the TV at the cops, and they crash, and Harry runs off. Meanwhile, they've had all these sightings of Bigfoot, and so all of a sudden it becomes like a full-on war zone.
They have like the SWAT team running through the street, but the city's empty. Like there should nobody
City is
there.
empty.
They've emptied
City
out.
is empty. SWAT team is there, fanning out everywhere. There's also a thing on the radio of like we have armed civilians, and there are all these armed civilians, just like people. There's one guy who's like a Rambo guy.
He's dressed like Rambo,
He's
like
got
running
bandoliers
through the
across.
God.
There's multiple people with guns. LaFleur is there. George is driving around looking for him, and this where he does his like ridiculous. His Harry. Oh.
Which is funny because does Harry make that sound? Like
I don't know.
Is he then like, let's do the Sasquatch call that we've
I don't
never
know,
heard.
but it does seem like a
love it.
Sasquatch call. So then LaFleur is like he's kind of down this alleyway, and he hears something, and he's got his rifle, and I always love this detail. He loves his rifle, and he hears something, and he reaches up and pulls off. He's got those gloves where you can take the fingertips off, and he gently slides the fingertip off his trigger glove, which is like so. It's always stuck with me for some reason. I don't know why. And he goes out to and there's a trash truck that is fully running and on.
Oh,
don't know why.
There's nobody in it.
There's a trash truck. There's nobody in it, and above it is a dumpster. It's like they were lifting up a dumpster and they're like, it's lunch, and they got out and left, and then the dumpster's suspended, and the LaFleur is like looking for something. He's underneath the dumpster, and he hears a sound, so he climbs up and looks in the dumpster, and there's this kind of POV shot into the dumpster. You don't see anything, and then right in the front of frame, Harry pops up, and LaFleur's like, ah!
Does he fall into the dumpster?
No, I think Harry grabs him and pulls him into the dumpster, and I guess that's what knocks him out. Maybe he gets knocked out there somehow.
He does get knocked out.
And then somehow, moments later, George arrives, and he's like, Harry, and he's looking around and everything, and then the dump truck, the garbage truck's behind him, and we see Harry pop up, and he's like, oh, because he sees George, and he starts banging on the.
Stay down.
He's bangs on the dumpster, and George is like, come on down, and then he hears the cops running. He's like, no, stay in there. I'll get you out. And he gets to the truck. Now he knows how to drive a garbage truck somehow. I don't know. He starts driving the truck. LaFleur and Harry are in the dumpster. The cops are like, follow that garbage truck for some reason, because there's no evidence that there's a Bigfoot or anything in there, but they're all like, follow that truck. So he's driving along, and then LaFleur kind of like, all right. And LaFleur kind of like comes to, and he sees Harry in the corner, and then like he goes to like grab his revolver.
I feel like they have so many different kinds of music in this movie.
They do.
Okay, go.
Well, yeah. So he pulls his revolver out, and Harry kind of grabs it. He doesn't know what it is. He grabs it away from him, and then he's looking at it, doesn't know what it is. And he sort of turns it on himself, and he's like looking down the barrel, and LaFleur very like slowly is like reaching up to like pull the trigger of it. Oh yeah. He's very slowly reaching, and he's about to pull the trigger, and Lithgow he slams on the brakes, and the dumpster flies off of the garbage truck and goes skidding to a halt, and LaFleur gets knocked out. George runs out, and Harry's like, whoa, and he stands up, and he's like, oh, come with me, and he gets him in the station wagon, which I think, which conveniently is also right there. And he gets in the station wagon, and they drive off, and then LaFleur kind of like wakes up, and he looks up, and all the cops are there with guns pointed at him, and they take him to jail. He's back home. They brought back home, and he looks at Melinda Dillon, who's asleep, and he's like, hey, and he wakes her up. He's like, man, look who's here. And Harry comes out of the shadows, and they're like, Harry, and Ernie's there. Oh, and they're like, oh my gosh, you need a bath.
Harry.
Yeah. And so they give him a bath and Irene's pool. It cuts to Irene's pool in the morning, and it's just like black and green with sludge, and the guy and the pool guy's there is cleaning out, and he's cleaning out this huge hairball. Harry's back at the TV at the house with his feet up, watching the old Addams Family TV show as they're blow drying him. They're blow drying him and like dry and everything, and it's just a weird little
it's a little montage
weird
of him
little
like
montage
getting cleaned up.
Yeah, and then LaFleur's in jail, and he stinks so bad from being in the dumpster, like he's pacing in the jail cell, and like the 15 other prisoners are like trying to be in the opposite corner from him at all times.
I like that he's screaming at his lawyer too. Like, who is he? Like, he's like a high-powered CEO during the week, but on the weekends he's hunting Bigfoot.
It doesn't really make any sense.
Get me out of here, Jerome. And you're like, who the heck is Jerome? Like, why do you have a lawyer? Like,
yeah, Wrightwood calls George.
Yeah.
And he's like, because of all the Bigfoot sightings, and he's like, I've got your note about the possible extinction of the Bigfoot. I think we should meet. And he's like, we should come to the house today, this afternoon, come. And he invites him. And Wrightwood shows up.
I love when he walks to the door. I'm Wallace Wrightwood.
Well, it's not even, he doesn't even walk in the door. It's like, by the way, detail I missed before.
What?
They're all dressed up for dinner.
Yeah.
That's
what you do.
I guess that's what you did.
You used to. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess you do now. But like, yes, they're all dressed.
No, but like they're like Ernie's in like a jacket with a tie.
Well, I think because he was coming over though,
and
not just like
Lithgow is in a jacket, suit and tie, and Sarah is in a dress. Like they're all dressed up.
Means, Josh. We know what it means.
How dare you? Lithgow opens the door and he reveals that it's Don Amici.
Yeah,
who's like, you. And he's holding a flower. She goes, I'm Wallace Wrightwood. And he's like all very apologetic and stuff, like he lied to him. He comes in and they all sit down to dinner. And he's like, something smells wonderful.
Oh, it's the roast.
It's the roast. And they go sit down and for dinner. And Lithgow's like, I'll get the roast. And she says...
The roast is resting in a shallow grave in the backyard.
A shallow, unmarked grave in the backyard.
Shallow, unmarked grave in the backyard.
Wallace is like,
are you people vegetarians?
Yeah, depends on the guest. And so meanwhile, Harry's listening to headphones upstairs, and he sees George's. He sees George's like evil drawing of. He's like, and he crumples up and throws it away. Wrightwood, and this is where Wrightwood tells a story of how he caught a glimpse of.
It's a really long story.
It's not really long, but I mean, they drag it out because of what's happening. So he starts telling this story where he's like, how, which I mentioned before, it's like 50 years ago, he saw this thing and he became obsessed, it ruined his life. And as he's telling this long story, Harry wanders into the background and the whole family's looking that way and they all see him, but Wrightwood doesn't. And so he's telling this whole story.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, and it's great. And it's this fun little gag. And Harry's slowly walking towards Amici, and Amici's like, I'm telling this story because I don't want your father to make the same mistake. And this is the part where he is about to bump his head and he doesn't. He starts to push the ceiling up and Lithgow's like, and kind of like does the finger, wags his finger back and forth. He knows. Amici's like, mark my words, there is no Bigfoot. And they're all kind of laugh, or he says, there are no big feet. That's what he says.
There are no Sasquatch.
And there
are no big feet.
Yeah. And the whole family's kind of like giggling a little bit. And he finally says, am I missing something? And they kind of look. And Don Amici does this scene so well. I mean, this is a hard moment to play, really.
I can't. This is so cringy.
And he sort of turns to his left and looks, and he senses Harry there, and he looks up. And they have this high angle shot down at Don Amici, and he looks at him, and the look on his face is so beautiful. Like it's really like brings tears to my eyes. He's just told you this whole story of his life has been ruined by this thing, and it doesn't exist, and he's basically just given up. And he looks at it, and it's just that it made me think of like that. Is there a moment in life like when people like finally attain their dream, and they're just like, I had one moment like that a little bit, but it like it does. It feels, I don't know.
Well, it's like true vindication.
Well, for him, yeah, but it's but it's the fact this thing exists.
He's like, oh Lord God.
Yeah, and he stands up, and he just his eyes are glassy, and he's just. It's the sheerest form of excitement and joy you've ever. It's the best representation of joy. I think pure unadulterated joy I've ever seen on camera.
Are you gonna do the Yahoo?
And then it culminates and he just looks at me and just goes Yahoo!
That was so cringy, but also special.
I know, and it's very. But the thing is, he sells it.
Oh, it's so
and you
good.
believe this guy
and the
would
whole
do
family's
it.
like,
Yeah, and Harry's like, what? And he's like freaked out a little bit, and it's great. But it's just so, like, it's such a beautifully acted and directed scene. He does it so well. And it could have been so cheesy. And I'm sure some people watched it and thought, oh, it's so cheesy. But I don't know, if you look at the humanity of it, which really this movie, it's all about looking at the humanity of things, right?
He lifted the weight of his disgruntled sadness off of his shoulders in like 1 second.
On camera.
And he was like...
And so convincingly. And so beautifully.
And he like crushes him in a hug. But
and he hugs it.
I do love the part just before though when he goes, made my eyes water and my lungs smoke.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the smell of the Sasquatch.
that's right.
And then behind him, Harry's like,
Yeah, that's right.
like, hey.
Yeah, they're at the dinner table. He's like, Dad taught him to sit. He's like, you've taught him to sit? No! And Harry jumps up and crashes through the floor onto the pool table.
Expensive.
Very, very expensive. And then he basically stands up out of the thing and out of the basement.
Hungry?
He reaches up because he's on the pool table. And Nancy, hungry, gives him a plate of vegetables. He starts eating celery. It's adorable. Wrightwood, they're all deciding they're going to set Harry free, and Wrightwood says he may know a place.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, we'll do it in the morning. And then Nance and George are there as Harry's making a bed of like branches, like pine needle branches to sleep in the living room. And without saying a word, Don Amici just leaves. And they're like, well, he's such weird. I don't even know when he's coming back. And then he comes back in with a sleeping bag and like a full like kind of camping setup and rolls out his bag next to Harry, who like looks delighted. And
he's
like
happy.
Harry gives him some pine needle branches to and he starts trying to help him make his bed.
So
and
cute.
Then LaFleur gets out. And then it cuts to, I think all of Irene's roses are gone.
What did you do to my roses?
Yeah, she's yelling at the poor gardener, and he's like, oh no, and all the rose heads are gone. We cut inside, and Harry has picked all of these roses, and he's giving them to Sarah to like apologize for the corsage. And she kind of forgives him, and then she's like, do you forgive me? And he like pats the side of her head, and then kind of like does like a sweet little like kind of a push, but he's incredibly powerful, so she falls over, which is something he keeps doing throughout the movie. But he's like, oh. And so Irene looks outside and sees LaFleur outside of the house, picking up the roses and smelling them because he's following the trail. She's like, no. And then she comes and accosts him with an electric knife. She's like, listen, buddy, what did you do with my roses, huh? And he's like absolutely confused because he's been looking in the window trying to get a glimpse of something, and she's yelling at him, and he's like, who is this crazy lady with the knife? And then as he's yelling at him, Harry goes into looks out the window, to which LaFleur doesn't see, but Irene sees, and she goes, she just passes out, faints, and then
everybody faints when they scream.
Everybody faints.
I've never fainted.
Everyone faints when they scream.
I've never seen a Bigfoot in someone's
That's
house.
true.
Okay.
And so Harry gets out of the window pane and is replaced by Lithgow just in time for LaFleur to turn back around. And so they know LaFleur's there now. So they all get out to the car and they start driving. Don Amici pops LaFleur's tire and they just peel out. They're all driving out to the mountains. They're going to get rid of him now. So LaFleur gets in the station wagon. He starts a hot pursuit. And then they get kind of stuck in traffic on the highway, and they see a cop car that has the siren on, and so the cars part for the cop who can drive through the highway. And they see LaFleur coming up. He's driving on the shoulder. He's coming to get them, and so Harry leans out the window and goes, whoa!
He mimics the
siren, and the cars start to part, and then they keep driving. So they drive down the highway.
I love that he took his car. He's like, that maniac took my car.
Yeah.
Like he steals George's car.
Yeah, and they're all in Don Amici's van.
Yeah.
And so the parting cars block the shoulders, so LaFleur is stopped, and he sees them as they're driving towards Mount Rainier, and
I do love,
or was it Rainier? I don't know how to say it. I'm realizing all of a sudden.
Now you're making it weird.
Now I'm
Mount Rainier.
Oh dear.
Great.
They're driving towards the mountains. But LaFleur is pursuing them, so it's a sort of a mini chase scene through the mountains in a way. But
do you like the very hidden place he takes them to?
Yeah, the very hidden place. I don't know. They had to get him out in the mountains somehow. So they arrive at some spot that Amici has brought them to. And this is this amazing scene where they've got to get Harry out of there. They're trying to make him understand LaFleur's coming. He's in danger. So this is like this classic thing which they did so beautifully in 30 Rock. If you remember this,
yes.
He's like standing there. He's like, "Go, get out of here. Can't you see? We don't want you anymore. Why can't you just go back where you came from? Go!
And he's like trying not to cry.
Yeah, Harry's like, oh, and then he punches him.
He punches him in the face.
George punches him in the face.
And he touches his face like, what?
And he's like, just get out of here.
Oh,
no one wants
terrible.
you. Go. And that's what in the 30 Rock, they did that with Alec Baldwin's character saying that to one of the writers who was trying to be like an executive. He's like, go, get out of here. Oh. He's like, nobody wants you. It's so funny, that scene. He punches him, but then they realize... they realized that
left tracks in
LaFleur could just follow the footprints. So
they put on Don Amici's like plaster. Oh, it fell over. They put the stupid microphone.
It's not stupid. You're stupid.
You're stupid.
No.
Yeah, they take the plaster, like the Bigfoot plaster molds,
castings. Yeah,
and that's what.
And
it's
they or casings or I don't know. They're castings, and they strap them on their feet.
They strap them on, and they're trying to distract and put footprints.
Yeah, so the whole family's walking around in the snow, making circles, so that
I like
the floor will get lost.
Harry's hiding up in the tree, and he sees him doing that, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, Harry's up in the tree with birds on his back.
And he looks terrifying, by the way. Even though he's sweet, he's like,
yeah. Really shortly thereafter, that LaFleur appears, trying to track him, and then Harry leaps down, and LaFleur fires at him, and he runs off. But the gunshots, George is aware, so they're all running to try to find what's going on. Meanwhile, LaFleur is shooting at Harry. Then all of a sudden, little Bob runs up and starts biting at LaFleur's fancy hunter boot.
Oh, and he grabs him, and does he throw?
And he grabs him, and he throws him. He picks up the dog, and he throws little Bob.
That's like in Battle for Endor when he throws Teak.
That's right. That's true. And Harry catches the dog and pets him and then puts him down. And he charges LaFleur, and LaFleur charges him too. LaFleur is going for his rifle, which is on the ground, and Harry steps on it and breaks it. Then he pulls a revolver, and Harry grabs the revolver and throws it away. And then he's got him there, and Harry growls, and then LaFleur goes, ah! And then he knees him in the nuts.
Oh, gross. I forgot. And he makes that sound.
And Harry looks for a minute. He looks really mad at him, and then all of a sudden his face changes, and he does this. And then LaFleur gets away.
And I like too the man-to-man moment when he makes that sound, and LaFleur's like,
Batarazis!
like, I'm dead. I'm a dead man.
He catches him somehow, and then George, they get out to the car, and Harry has brought LaFleur, and he's got him on top of the car. He's holding him down, and Harry's just sitting there eating something. And George runs up and gets LaFleur to the ground. He's like, you gotta leave him alone. What are you doing?
You're not gonna kill him.
You're not gonna
hurt him.
I won't let you. And he's slamming him, and he's slamming against the car, slamming. And then Harry puts his hand behind LaFleur's head or back to stop him from being hurt, and then puts his hand on George's chest and pushes him away.
Yeah.
So he saves LaFleur in that moment. And LaFleur thinks that he's going to kill him. He's like, oh, he's going to kill me. He's going to kill me. And then Harry kind of
please, don't kill me.
Yeah.
Please, don't kill me.
Harry just kind of it takes him longer, but he sees the humanity in him, and Harry kind of gently, I don't know, pats his head. He starts to walk away, and he grabs his arm, and LaFleur's like, no. And he shakes his hand. And then he kind of pats LaFleur in the head, and then does that same thing where he knocks him over by accidentally that he did with Sarah.
Yeah.
But yeah, because LaFleur is saying he's never going to give up. He's never going to give up. But he sees the same thing that George saw with looking through the scope. He sees the soul in him, and it's really nice.
Here it is.
And so, yeah.
Ironically, it is Harry who comes to LaFleur's rescue, calming him down with a gentle patting gesture.
Harry takes charge. That's what it says.
Harry takes charge.
And so then the family gets to say goodbye in a nice way. And then Sarah gives him a flower thing, and he goes to eat it, and then stops. He's makes a flower joke,
remember that corsage?
Laughs. He's like, and they laugh, and he makes a joke, which is great. And then Harry hugs George, and George says, "I've never thanked you for all you've done for us or everything." And he hugs him, and it's really sweet. And he goes, "You take care of yourself, okay?" And then Harry goes, "Okay."
Mon Dieu? They have a language?
Harry walks off into the woods, and it's this great majestic shot. And they're watching him, and he's walking off in the woods, and it cuts back to everyone looking at him, and then it cuts back to the same shot, and then all of a sudden, one Bigfoot sort of appears on the side of the frame. They were standing there the whole time looking like trees. And he breaks away and he starts following Harry, and another one breaks away, and then a little baby one gets up and runs after them.
And obviously, you said that you probably watched it like looking for them, but when you're not looking, you're like, oh my God!
Oh no, that's what I'm saying, because the first time I saw it, I remember when I first saw it, I remember being like, oh, where did they come from? Were they there? And so when I watched it again, I was specifically looking for it this time.
Oh, it's so cute. And then everyone's faces are like, oh.
Yeah.
And you can see how like it's like the mystery. Like that's how like they just disappear into the woods and you can't see them. And it's so cute.
It's really nice. And then this is the part that the one cringy part for me is when Don Amici's like, so what now for you, Jock or Jocko or whatever? And the guy goes, I don't know. I mean, there was always Loch Ness.
And then they're like,
and then Don Amici goes, ha ha ha! And it's a little rough for the end.
There's always Loch Ness.
And then that's the end, except for the Joe Cocker song.
Oh my gosh! Yes. I'm sorry, I'm yelling into your ear holes. What? Can we play it? Can we play it?
No, we can't play it. We're not allowed to play
it. Hold on. What's it?
I can't even really remember how
Time
it goes, but I remember
goes on.
Yeah, that's it is. Yeah. What were the other things?
Something. Oh wait. Our spirit will shine long after we're gone.
One thing I forgot to say, by the way,
what
is that apparently LaFleur is based off a real guy. This guy named Rene. I don't know how you pronounce his name. Dahiden, whatever. He was from Switzerland, and he moved to Canada, and he spent 40 years trying to find Bigfoot. And then, according to the interwebs, apparently, a friend said that this guy, Rene, once told him, I've spent over 40 years, and I didn't find it. I guess that's got to say something.
Oh.
Which is interesting, but I was just surprised that it was really seemingly based off a real guy.
Yeah, you kept that secret. I didn't know about that.
I totally forgot to talk about that because I was so into this movie. But
I love this movie so much.
It's so great.
I think it's obvious that we love this movie.
It's so much fun. And it is. It's not, a brilliant cinematic masterpiece by any means, but it's so much fun. And honestly, just alone for watching Harry's expressions, amazing. Let me ask you this though. Do you think people, if you had never seen it and you watched it now, do you think people would like it? Because Keelan did not like it. She actually seen it twice now. She's like, I liked it better the second time, but she wasn't into it. Do you think anyone would like it if they hadn't seen it in their youth?
I don't know. But I also think that
movies are not made like this
just
anymore.
Not.
They
so
don't make
different.
this kind of movie anymore.
I don't know. Probably not, because the kids would be on iPads and and they'd have their earbuds on.
There's a complete lack of cynicism in this movie.
And simplicity, too. Like, it would have to be, like, a snappy soundtrack and this and that. There would have to be so much more packed into it. I think they would find it boring and quiet and just sort of like, I don't know.
I mean, it moves. Like, the movie really moves.
Just for giggles, they should start like re-releasing these things and just see how it's received.
I don't know. Based off Keelan's reaction, I don't think it'd be received well.
That's one child.
Which is too bad.
That's one child.
Yeah.
Although, a one child you would think would love it, so maybe you're right.
I know. I don't know. Let's do this esoteric quote game.
All right. You're not going to get any of mine because you haven't seen them. So
okay. Well, that's exciting. Then everyone's thrilled for that. Yeah. The game where we, as you've seen throughout the episode or heard throughout the episode, we throw out random quotes from other movies that sort of like a shorthand in our relationship. And we just kind of, try to see if anyone can get it, what it's from. But here we're gamifying it a little bit.
You go first.
Okay. All right. So I'll give you a simple one to start with. I know I say that all the time and you're like, but this one's super
I always
even.
get it wrong.
Ronald Reagan, the actor.
Ronald Reagan, the actor?
Yeah.
Oh God!
Oh really? I thought you get it. No,
immediately. I know exactly what it is. Like
Ronald Reagan,
the actor. Like okay, sure. Like you gotta be kidding me. It's not Back to the Future.
Yes, it is.
It is Back to the Future.
It's Back to the Future. Yeah.
Like give me. Because he's trying to convince Doc. He's like Ronald Reagan, the actor.
That's a pretty. Yes. It's a pretty well-known quote. It's a little outside of our thing because it's kind of well-known.
Sometimes I think that, but then we fit stuff in. All right, so let me think. This is a. All right, ready? No. You need a lead in.
How do you explain?
Because it's the sound. It's the way he says it. All right, fine. Ted Kennedy was shot?
Oh.
Darn it.
Serious, it's Bruno Kirby is what you're doing.
All right. All right, that's my...
When Harry Met Sally.
No.
But I like that your quote for me was no.
Because he goes, no.
No.
That's what he said. No.
I know.
All right, fine.
My gosh.
I'm sorry. I've not been doing well lately because I'm just...
How about this?
All right.
The thought had occurred to me.
Oh, God. I don't know. Ugh.
The thought had occurred to me.
Is it from Dave?
No. Damn. But we have done this one.
I don't know.
They're in a limo.
It's not Dave?
No.
It's not Arthur?
No. They are...
It's not Big.
They're waiting for someone and they're in the wrong place.
Oh. The drink?
Oh my gosh.
They're waiting for someone and they're in the wrong place.
Let me think of another one.
Limo? In a limo? I can't even think of the ones that we've done.
The guy says something to him that that is obvious. And he says, I don't think he's coming. The thought had occurred to me.
It's not the Three Musketeers. It's not a limo. I thought maybe it was a fancy carriage.
So, it's the Electric Horseman.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Here, go ahead. You can.
No, it's fine.
You can do what you need to do.
I'm fine.
The Electric Horseman, John Saxon.
All right.
The thought had occurred to me.
Yeah. I don't feel good about this. All my stuff is bad. He's so cheesy, I can't watch him without crackers.
You just said that. Wasn't the Reality Bites? No. Yeah.
I don't know what to do anymore.
Reality Bites.
I feel like I'm just giving up.
Here's my last one.
Fine.
This is one of my favorite scenes. A favorite. Well, I won't say this quite yet.
Spirit's broken.
He says it sang to him.
It sang to him? Mm-hmm. Wait, is the whole thing, he says it sang to him? Mm-hmm. He says it sang to him.
I love the delivery of this line. I love the context of this line. It is one of my favorite openings of any movie.
I want you to know
I can give you the lead-in line to this in a moment, which will, I think, give it away.
You know how sad I feel in my heart that I can't come up with any good ones.
Usually
the pressure's
you do.
On.
Hey, we all have off weeks, kid. So he goes, first of all, the cadence is, he says it sang to him.
Well, it's not the fish movie.
Fish movie?
What? Is it Close Encounters?
Yes.
Yes!
Yes, it is.
Yes!
He goes, he says the sun came out last night. He says it sang to him. And it's so...
Yes.
That opening is like... So gives me chills every time. It's such a fantastic opening, that movie. And that guy just out in the desert, just kind of with the sunburned face. And the way that this guy delivers that line, he says it sang to, is so eerie to me.
When you look with care for the shape of a square. I'm
really excited to see that again. I would love to see that, but I think I can't. Melinda, that's what I was going to say. Is we mentioned this. Yeah, Melinda Dillon. This is what I always remember her from, is that role.
Yeah.
But she so great in that. That movie's so good and haunting, and I don't think I can show it to Keelan because I think it will scare her.
Oh, it's a lot. It's a very overwhelming. But I love her in Absence of Malice, though. That is the most heartbreaking role.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Oh my God. All right. Well,
last one.
I get one more for screwing it up. Even if these are all bad. Can I test them out?
No.
All right. And so am I. I can give you cadence, but
give me the cadence.
There's a little bit.
There's a little bit there.
It's in a little bit.
And so am I.
Yeah.
And
so am I.
So am I.
I got one.
I do. Yeah, I'm obviously, I hear it.
I have a lead in when you're ready, but it will get it away.
So am I. Yes. Where is this?
Where
are
is it?
they?
I feel like the lead in would be better.
So am I. Okay,
he's backed into a corner. Like they're
Oh.
Back to a corner. They're chasing. There's a chase.
Wait. Oh.
Well, did that confuse you? It's not like a chase, but he's
No, sorry. I for one moment flat, I was thinking of Princess Bride, and I was like, oh, no, that's not what he says. He's like,
No.
I'm not left-handed either.
I am not left-handed.
Oh, man. I feel like I almost had it. Now it's gone again. And
so am I.
So am I. Does he have an accent?
Yes.
And so am I.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I can do the lead in if you want, but
I can hear it.
I know you know exactly what it is from the way you just said it. And so am I.
I mean, I feel like it's not Braveheart, right?
No. Like the opposite of that.
No, yeah.
But it's the accent.
Yeah.
Tell me if you need the lead in.
So, yes, what is it?
Wait, I'm a man.
Oh.
And so am I.
Oh, man. Oh, shoot. Oh, well, it's Victor Victoria. No?
It's not Victor Victoria. It could be, but it's not Victor Victoria.
Oh.
Well, you obviously know what it is. It's just...
Oh, wait. I can totally hear it. I'm just not... I can't picture it at all.
I know.
I really can't picture it.
Wait, I'm a man.
Yeah.
And so am I.
Yeah. What's the situation, though?
They're on a boat. Ow, ow, ow. Charlie horse. Charlie horse. I think it's Stanley Tucci. Oh, wait, no.
Oh, my gosh.
Ow, ow.
Is it the Imposters?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I love that movie, and I have not seen that in so... Who says that?
Billy Connolly.
Oh, Billy Connolly. Yes.
I love that Steve Buscemi's name is Happy Franks.
Happy Franks. Oh
I didn't know Allison Janney was in that. I don't remember her.
I don't remember
I
her
didn't know
either.
her. I didn't know who she
All
was.
I remember
at
is
that
Campbell
time.
Scott and Lily Tomlin.
Oh my
Stanley
gosh.
Tucci.
Lily Taylor.
Not Tomlinson. Sorry, Lily Taylor, and Alfred Molina is the actor.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, so good.
All right.
Well, we did it. We did Harry and Hendersons. We ate that gum.
We ate that gum.
Oh my gosh.
We flirted with that gum.
We are
because
daredevils.
It could have
Well, there's nothing left to do. You would have.
It's disgusting.
You would have chewed. It would have crumbled more, and it would have been dust. There's no
choke. It's like it's like a bay leaf, where everyone toys around with a bay leaf, but if that thing crumbles, it gets stuck in your throat and you die.